There goes the Daverhood. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a brand new edition of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the stream. With me, Dave Lefkowitz. Sorry about the technical difficulties getting started here, but I think we're all set, and I think we're public, and I think you can watch our 701st episode of the show. So don't miss it. It's going to be really cool. It's a classic, old-style Dave's Gone By episode with all sorts of stuff that I'll tell you about after, well, we hear our beginning music.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. There goes the Daverhood.
And there was much rejoicing.
Didn't your meds kick in yet?
You got David Lefkowitz here. He's a Long Island Arts guy. He's got his own radio show.
I want you all to really enjoy a wonderful program done by a fine artist.
A glorious thing of unparalleled beauty.
Dave's Gone By. Dave is one of my very favorite broadcasters, so keep on listening to Mr. Dave.
Tropical hot dog night. Like two flamingos in a fruit fight.
Well, as I said, there goes the Daverhood. Good morning, everybody. We're getting thumbs up for Captain Beefheart, which is always good. And we're getting welcomes from people who are watching, like Gina and Arlene and Miles and Jeffrey and Cynthia and Tony, of course. Of course, Tony's watching. Welcome to you, Tony. I'm Dave Lefkowitz. I've been doing this program since October of 2002. And I'm continuing to do it even past our 700th show.
Solstice dog.
Yes,
Solstice
this is,
dog.
as Joyce is saying, is the solstice dog. This is our Oofty.
For your show.
Now, what was cool is we put him on at the very last minute in our previous episode, so now he's making his cameo at the very beginning of this show, which is how we get more viewers. This is kind of, the tease. Either you're going to have a hot woman in a bikini, or you're going to show a dog, a really cute dog.
We're never going to show a hot woman in a bikini.
What? We're not?
No.
You're not going to change for me, babe?
Not as long as I'm alive.
So, anywho, this is our dog. Yay, he's 17 years old.
I need to fix his eyes.
Yeah, he's got hair in his eyes. We're afraid to clip the hair on his face and other places because I was cutting his hair a couple of weeks ago and accidentally snipped his skin, and he needed 2 stitches, so that was fun. The joys of pet ownership.
Uh-oh.
Gesundheit. So gesund to you. Oh, I have to start my other recorder going. Can you hold him for a moment, please? Thank you ever so much.
Oh.
That's my darling and adorable wife, Joyce.
I'm sorry if I sneeze. I have allergies, which leads to migraine. If anybody has allergies and migraines, I feel your pain.
I feel your grains, but you feel my grains.
I feel your pain.
Oh, well, there you go.
I'm going to start sneezing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Joyce has just had a miserable couple of days here. We've been running the air conditioner nonstop in the hopes that it would help her allergies. You've been taking local Southampton honey in your tea day after day.
Yeah,
Still doesn't help when it rains every day.
No. Plus, also, I think going to DC, the Amtrak goes through tunnels and there's pressure. You go underwater. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you want to talk about the Amtrak trip? Because that was your big thing this week.
Do your show. You do your gripe. I like David's gripe. You usually begin with your gripe.
It's not always a gripe.
The air conditioner man. Then what was it last week?
The week. Well, that was 2 weeks ago.
Was there? You've done MTA and the tickets.
Well, it'll be MTA today also, but today I can just talk about the 2 different things because you can talk about.
You look like Fidel Castro, David.
Really?
Yeah.
Thank you. Hola, me llamo Dave. Buenos días. Y vamos a comenzar el episodio.
El show muy espectacular.
70 mil. What is 700? 700,
no?
700, that sounds about right. Y uno programa de Dave's Gone Adios. This is why I won awards in Spanish in high school, ladies and gentlemen. But Welcome also to Tony and Rick and Reggie and David from my high school and Stan. Oh, Stan's. See, Stan dumped us for a couple of weeks.
Stan is bringing the Colorado vibe. You go, Stan. You go, Stan. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. You go, Stan. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. Okay, that's enough.
Yeah, so, but welcome to Stan and everybody who's tuning in and giving us thumbs up and stuff like that.
His real name is
Stanley. Stan, is your real name Stanley? Or is it Stanislaus?
Oh, I love Stanislaus. That's a good name.
Stan Elizabeth? It could be that.
Yes.
It
could be Stan by me.
Staminella?
It looks like I'm wearing a wig. Look at my hair, right?
Well, people can't see that.
You'll explain to
Would
them.
you want to get on camera so people can see if you're...
I never want to go on camera, not when I look like Wreck of the Hesperus, you know?
She looks fine, but she's dealing with a cold allergy, migraine thing. Okay, really?
Yeah, here.
Oh, this is amazing. She never does this except accidentally when she passes like across camera range to help me with something. But here, this is the great, wonderful, and amazing and adorable Joyce with her hair that kind of looks like a wig. Joyce, say something. You're on camera.
I put on my outfit. I wore my outfit today.
Oh, Joyce got this week. For our oh, you got thumbs up and hearts.
Oh, there you go.
Look at this, you're getting fan. Oh, that's true. I'm sorry.
Cover,
I'm going to cover you with a shirt that Joyce bought. Where was this in DC? You got this?
It was a onesie. I got it for like less than $5. I wanted to buy you something with poop.
Well, this is pretty wonderful.
Maybe
no matter how you feel about the man.
Give me myself. I'll hold myself.
Yeah. Well, here's the shirt.
And tell them you think it looks like an angry chicken. You asked me why I bought you an angry chicken.
Well, it's supposed to be obviously Donald Trump, but to me, it's got like yellow and a beak. And you know, oh, yes. This is our mushroom friend.
This is not a good rendition for $5. What, you know?
Well, no, I'm just saying they're making fun of a poo. I get that, but it's more like poo chicken than some sort of anti-Trump shirt. So there you go. He's mad. I mean, they should drop thousands of bees on Iran. We're suddenly getting big smiles from someone, so thank you.
Don't like it.
It's not kosher. So anywho, where the hell were we going on this? So what was I going to yak about? Well, you'll talk about your gripe with the MTA this past week. Yeah. I'll talk about, though, a couple of things. First of all, didn't really do much for Father's Day. Gave my dad a gift, and that was about it. Because we were at home, we were celebrating your birthday last Sunday. So we went out to New York to do that. So happy birthday to Joyce. It was last Sunday was the day of your birthday. And it was a big one. Do you want to say the number?
No. Well, I don't care. I'm 50.
Yeah. I mean, you're a gerontologist, for Christ's sake. If you can't be proud of your age.
I know. I'm not proud of my age. I'm not unproud. I'm happy I'm alive.
Yes.
It's like there was a girl on Fitbit. Like, I don't read this crappy. Like,
you have girls on Fitbit?
No,
I gotta get myself a Fitbit.
No, but like Fitbit and all this. No, or she was on the. What's the other one where you track your points for food?
Weight Watchers?
No. My Fitness Pal.
Oh yeah.
And the girl said, "Oh, someone said happy birthday to her," and she said, "I'm grateful for another year of life." And I thought that's a nice way to put it.
Well, yeah, we're all grateful for another year.
That was very nice, like a nice way to phrase it, you know?
Oh, I had a happy thing before I start talking about that week. Speaking of another year of life and health and good things.
Oh, yeah.
I went to the eye doctor this week. Yeah, baby.
Hold on. Well, you want to take the green and go with
your Now, I know I'm having age-related changes.
You just have to wear these.
Wouldn't I say? Yeah, I'll just put these on. Oops, I should put them on the right way. Here we go.
Yes. Oh, you're styling.
Huh? Am I styling? Am I freaky styling, ladies and gentlemen?
You look really mod. You look mod.
So this is important.
You look like Fidel Castro at the beach with Gorbachev.
What, are you saying just this shirt is Castrovian?
It's militaristic. Oh my God.
I bet we get lots of your stuff. But anywho, so...
Make me want to have a meeting with Che.
Okay. Well, Shea Stadium doesn't exist anymore.
Che, not Shea.
Well, okay. There you go. So... this is kind of important because my family has some eye problems genetically, and my aunt and my mom and so forth have had, both of my aunts have had eye problems. One aunt went temporarily, was it in one eye or both eyes? Where she, no, it wasn't one eye.
It was the Mac. I don't know.
Well, she went temporarily blind. Another aunt just 2 weeks ago was playing with the dog and her grandchildren, and even the dog or the grandchildren, we're really not allowed to say, but one of them bashed into her face,
That's right, yeah.
and tore what was it, retina? Yeah, and she had to have immediate. So and she went to her GP, which has been one of our family GPs for like 40 years.
Well, we don't know the full story, so let's not share that.
Oh, well, I'm not naming any names.
No, we don't say it.
Well, I'm just saying that the GP didn't find. Can I say that?
Well,
what our eye doctor said.
Or maybe he recommended it to. Maybe he recommended the eye doctor. We're not sure.
Oh, is that really okay?
We're not sure.
We're not sure. Well,
Put on
anyway,
your new
but it was
eyes
Joyce's thing to say. You know what?
Oh, you dropped your eye.
Oh no!
Okay.
Joyce recommended. You know what? Just to check.
Well,
Go see an eye doctor.
If anybody has health insurance and pays exorbitant fees, you'll understand the fact that we've met the in-network deductible, so that's why I want him to go.
Yeah. Well, that's for me.
Yes.
But she went to the eye, and this eye doctor said, "Oh, by the way, you need sort of an emergency quick
guess
thing. Let me
what?
surgically repair that." And so she had this done. It took probably about 20 minutes, and then she had to do the chair
Like
that my mom was
like
in for
mommy. It's inversion.
a month and a half.
It's
Yeah.
inversion.
She had to. There's this thing where you have to do. When it's not, it isn't like you have a little bit of surgery. You take it easy for a day. You rest. You sleep for a day, and then you sort of get back to regular life. She had to lie in this chair, almost like a
massage chair.
Yeah. But I mean, for as much time as she possibly can, all day long. So you get like a 5 or 10 minute break, you get a bathroom break. But every hour, you're in this chair forward.
Because you're supposed to get the bubble. There's a little bubble, I guess, that they put air in there. They put air or something in your eye, and they want that to go away. And also, they don't want any gravity or pressure on your eye while it's healing, right? So it's like when they say if you hurt your foot or your knee, elevate. So you can't elevate your eye. You need to invert yourself.
In fact, you're doing the opposite.
Yeah.
Because wouldn't more gravity be hitting the eyeball?
The back of the eye is what you're resting, not the
Oh.
front. Yeah.
Oh, wow. See, this is where I've been a teacher for many, many years, and I still don't know about pupils.
Put on your.
I'm going to put on my glasses. Okay. So, it's like Ernie Kovacs there. So she goes, and she's had to be in this chair for about a week and a half of just lying down most of the day, as much as she possibly can. And
don't eat that. Don't eat that. What is that? Don't eat that.
Well, these are actually very cool. But she's fine. Thank God. She went to the eye doctor. She's fine.
Yeah.
This was something my mother had to do about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and it took her 6 weeks to be in that
She
chair.
had a retinal hole.
Oh.
Don't
That's too much information there. So no, but you're right. My aunt's was a tear, and my mother had like a
zombie day. Put them on top of your head.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, I'm digging this. It just won't stay.
Your head's too big.
Yeah. There we go.
You look cute. You look very summery.
I look like Minnie Mouse now.
You know who you look like? You look like
Minnie Mouse
Belinda
Guevara.
Carlisle from the Go-Go's.
I look like Belinda Carlisle from the Go-Go's?
You got the beat.
Okay, I don't mind looking like Belinda Carlisle from the Go-Go's.
They were all kind of nasty and messy.
Yeah, in a good way, back in the day. Yeah, no, just saying. I was like the dark-haired one. Who was that? Was Charlotte? No.
Who knows?
Well, I can't keep them
You're
apart
a
anyway.
freak, David. You're a super freak.
I'm a freak with warning. Because I'm Jewish, I'll never be a freak without warning. I always warn people, I'm going to be a freak now.
I'm coming. I'm freaking out now. Fuck, you don't scratch your face.
So anyway, we check in my family also for fear of glaucoma, which my grandmother had.
Of life,
We're afraid of everything, but especially in terms of eyeballs, afraid of glaucoma. And about 2 years ago, back in Colorado, I went to an eye doctor. And the cool thing, this is what happens. My regular eye doctor there, that I'd seen for 7 years.
Who was related to John Adams, remember?
Yes, tell.
What did you say?
Well, that's all I know.
He was a descendant, so we used to always say he was a descendant of John Adams. Isn't that cool?
I get, yeah. I mean, you can trace back
his
to. Go figure you find a real white guy in Colorado.
No, but we used to often see him when we went out to eat with his wife, and he always would talk with us. He was lovely.
All right, so I've been going to him for about 7 years.
Wow.
And then he retired and left at that point the business to his like co-person coming in and a new person. Yeah. So I go to see him, and for the first time ever, he's like, I'm seeing something in there. Not quite, I don't remember whether it was a little bit of, I'm sure he must have said cataract, like the baby little cataract, age-related change. maybe you should go see an eyeball specialist. So now, being me and being Jewish, I'm shitting my pants. I'm like, that's it. I'm either going to go blind or I'm going to need surgery that's going to be lasering my eyes for weeks on end. I'm going to have to do this and that. So I'm like, you know. And they send me what doctors love to do for more tests. And they're not painful tests, by the way. They're drops, and they do that little burst of air into your eye, which I don't know what that is supposed to do, but it's kind of pleasant, actually. It's like, ooh. If I had my druthers of things to do at a doctor's, you want to pull air in my eye?
You like it on your tush, you told me.
Oh, it feels so good in the tushy. He did it for me. I begged him.
Really? That's probably why he thought you had something wrong with you.
This is very funny.
Love it.
Stan says 2 things about Belinda Carlisle. I love how it just bounces everywhere.
Yeah.
He says, first of all, that she and I have the same style mustache, which is kind of
really?
Yeah. But I mean, hers is between her thighs. But I kid.
I thought he was the same as Madonna's. You can't talk about Madonna, or she'll get back at you on the Twitter.
Well, Stan actually also said I drove Belinda Carlisle to Radio City Music Hall in the early '90s to the Grammys. So that's kind of cool. So if you have any stories about
Stan's got a secret life.
I guess.
The Secret Life of Stan. Stan's got a book out.
Yeah.
People I rode.
Just go would be
People
the.
I rode.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. It shows the resistance of your cornea. Oh, that Stan's. You're like our resident expert, Stan. That's what it does. Either that or he's Googling.
I think Stan was an ophthalmologist in the past life.
I don't know.
Ah.
All white.
You're so viscous.
Stop it or I'll give you 10 lashes.
Oh, God.
This just gets cornea and cornea. All right, so they send me to a specialist, and they do 10 more, it's the same tests plus 10 more tests, opening eye and charging whatever they charge, which I think was covered by insurance anyway. All to say that there's something there. There's nothing to be done about it right now. Maybe in 15, 20 years, you got to do something, but you're basically fine.
Good.
There's something lurking, but you're fine. Right.
That's just the Jewish guilt and fear.
Well, I mean, these are goyim back in. No. I think I had a Jewish.
Of course you did. Yes, you
in
did.
Colorado, he was Jewish.
Yes, you did.
How did I notice that?
Because we went to a practice, and you're like, "Oh, landsman! I found a land." You're screaming in the waiting room. There's a Jew here. There's a Jew here.
Yeah,
which
I was
always
excited.
is a nice way to introduce yourself to someone. You should ask him, do you two light the menorah?
that's a good way.
That's your
How was your
intro.
Shavuos?
That's right.
That's what we would go into like little Queens.
Yes.
And you see like black and Hispanic faces like, anybody ever hear of a really good Shavuos?
How many of you were brised?
Well, actually, still a lot.
How many read from the Torah on their bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah, as the case may be?
Well, most of the Hispanics do the Haftorah. It's their special thing. I don't know why.
Oh, God.
But anywho.
You're crazy.
So I go with some trepidation to my old eye doctor, since we've been living out here back in Long Island, because this is my first trip.
No, because I forced you, because I went, because I have allergies, and because he's in network, and we met the deductible, and I'm like, let's do this.
Right. I mean, it's essentially a free, hopefully, office visit, and someone to check on me again, like a year or so later, to see if that, whatever that was, is growing, is building, is going to be a problem.
As a condo.
Yeah. Or also if I need new prescriptions for my reading actually, my reading glasses are Dwayne Reed, $3 a pair.
Or your porn watching glasses.
Oh, my porn watching glasses. Those are the ones I go, wooga, wooga, wooga. Thank you very much. Comedy comes in threes. So, no.
I don't know what that means.
And I go there to this doctor that I had. What's weird is I remember him as the young guy.
He never was, David. As long as I was going to him, he was not the young
As
guy.
long as you were going
dressed
to
well.
him.
He always wears cufflinks and like tailored shirts. He dresses like, to me, like, this is very sad, and I'm not a clothes horse by any sense of the imagination.
Yeah.
But I think when you go to a doctor and they are making lots of money and they see, like, in an hour they see 4 or 5 people and they're billing insurance, I want them to look good. And he always wears a beautifully tailored shirt, a nice pants, and he always wears cufflinks.
I mean, he could wear scrubs over
But I
underwear.
prefer that he would dress nicely.
That's how I
then
dress.
I feel,
Yeah.
then I feel like he's, professional.
Well, it's why lawyers wear perfect suits and drive a certain kind of car.
Or salesmen.
It says success. Right,
your
right.
cousin told me. Your cousin Adam said to me, I said, you have a fancy, 20 years ago, I said, you have a fancy car. And he said, it's for work because I'm a salesman. If you're a salesman and you come in with yucky clothes and a bad car, people think, oh, God, you're not doing well.
Imagine you work on Wall Street and you're trying to convince people to invest with you and you're driving a 1987 Toyota.
A Kia.
Yeah, right, exactly. You know, like a Subaru from back in the day that isn't vintage.
I know, it would be rough. Come here, baby dog.
But anyway, so I go to this doctor, but that was a funny thing. To you, he always seems like an old guy.
Yeah.
To me, he was the underling of the first eye doctor from when I was a teenager, moved out here. And it's like, who's this young fella who's now, of course, 40 years older, and now he's the old guy.
Yeah.
But he's really good, and I hope he's good because he did the usual test. He gave me a drop. No more eye. They don't do that now.
Yeah, mine did it. Yours didn't. My eyes dilated. Yours didn't.
Oh, okay. But they didn't do the eye air puff, did he?
No, I asked him about that, especially for you, because the air puff, they found that test can increase the reading of pressure in the eye, so give false positive for glaucoma.
Oh, crap.
That's what I was talking to him about.
Yeah.
That's why I said you relax, because the more you get tense, you're increasing your blood pressure and your eye pressure.
Right.
So I kept telling you, relax and put your head forward.
Right.
You know, and you're like, yeah,
I was nervous.
Because whenever you go to the doctor and you're nervous, you start rambling.
Yeah.
I
don't get that nervous eye doctor because I know he's not going to give me any needles.
Yeah, but you started with the eye drops, and I said, be like Ufti, be like our 19-year-old
who gets drops twice a day.
17-year-old dachshund. I said, look, don't look at the drop. Look up, and he hit you in the bottom, and you were fine.
Yeah, it was fine. It was
fine.
fine.
You were dancing like a parakeet on a perch for about a half hour.
I was not. I was just nervous, you know. Yeah. But the weird part was, I just wanted a status update on if anything gotten worse, or if I would now really absolutely drive for driving, and he's like, you're 2020. And there's nothing there. Your eyes are absolutely fine. They're fabulous. Whatever age-related stuff, you've got the readers.
Fabulous. He didn't say they're fabulous.
He didn't say they're fat. I said they're fabulous.
Fabulous.
No, he said they're absolutely perfectly normal, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go to like 25-20. My dad back in the day, my dad was 2015. That was pretty cool. I would love that. But well, okay. And yeah, typical age-related astigmatism in terms of having to read. Which is astigmatism.
It's not astigmatism. It's there's changes in the cornea and changes in your eye that make you take off your glasses or need glasses.
Need glasses when I read. But read in a certain position.
Yeah.
You know, I can still read very perfectly well like this.
Yeah.
But if I'm lying in bed and I want to read,
it's the joke that anybody over 50 reads like on our
it's true. Yeah. If I need to read a cereal box, it's like, okay, here, you know, or the back of a can of soda or something. It's like I can't. This is me when I was 20. This is me 40. This is me 50.
I take off my glasses when I do that. Yeah.
So, but it was delightful and joyful to hear an eye doctor tell you your eyes are fine and there's nothing there. Whatever they saw a year and a half ago vanished or didn't exist in the first place.
It's a miracle.
Well, think about that.
Yeah.
It's like people it's not the same thing. It's like people who are diagnosed with tumors and so they don't have tumors anymore. I mean, I'm absolutely thrilled. No, I don't, Stan.
What do you say?
First of all, he said, I'm a conditioning eater. I don't even know what that is in reference to because I have to scroll back. But he says, you need to vape something good. Why? What would that have to do with, does that relieve pressure? I guess marijuana is for glaucoma patients and they...
I can't do the marijuana.
My luck, I would do one vape thing and it'd be one of those exploding pipes.
Oh.
What was that?
That's the dog unattaching your computer.
We're good here. Anyway, by the way, it's 9:30 in the morning and you're watching the Dave's Gone By Facebook Podcast Programmio of the stream with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling and adorable wife, Joyce. This is our 701st episode of the program and we're calling it the 701 Club.
That's great.
Okay? Because your idea was wise to call last week's show the 700 Club, except we had a special guest. We had Anne Harada from Avenue Q and Cinderella on Broadway, so we titled it something else in her honor. So we're calling this one the 701 Club with me, and with you guys watching at home here on Facebook, our Facebook page, Dave's Gone By. Remember, you can find out more about the program at davesgoneby.com. That is not just information about the show and some photographs, but all our archives. Like, you can listen to the first show that we ever did back in October of 2002. It was 11 o'clock, coming from my supposedly commercial radio station out on Long Island. It was an hour long, and then we expanded to an hour and a half, and then back to an hour, and then for a while we were off terrestrial radio. Then we emerged out of a university for about 7 years, which was quite wonderful, and created essentially the show that we're doing today. Only for the past year and a half, we've also brought some level of video into it. It's a radio show, okay? I don't have the budget or the time or the wherewithal to do like TV, unless of course somebody wants to give me the money for the budget and the wherewithal. But for now, you know, this is the realm of the television that we're doing. Anything beyond this point is like my bedroom. You know, I spin it just a little bit this way.
My bathroom.
My bathroom.
Is the place where I can dream. Tell them if they hear sounds what's happening.
Actually, this is kind of cool. Someone that I know, actually, I should say this.
What?
A fella who was a guest on our Tony Awards special 2 or 3 weeks ago, and Stuart Brown is his name. He has an internet radio station devoted to Broadway music and musicals, and he also has a podcast that he does on that station. And he just interviewed the guy that we watched that documentary about industrial musicals.
Oh, wow.
The fellow who worked on the Letterman show. The fellow who worked on the Letterman show and became obsessed with collecting the records that were cast recordings, cast musical albums, not from Broadway or off-Broadway or regional theater, but from these industrial shows that they used to do, and still very occasionally do, but it used to be a really big thing for New York actors who weren't getting work. They could get really well-paid, great work doing 1 or 2 shows in corporate big conventions and getaways. And there were these musicals that were written to glorify products like plastics or aerosols or bathroom fixtures. And if you've ever heard the song My Bathroom, you know whereof I speak. That is the explanation, the longer explanation for the bit of music that you just heard. And Tony is now doing an eyeball joke. Well, looking at it in 2020 hindsight, yes, some jokes are better unseen. Sorry. I'm just blind to your faults, Tony. I you know that I am. What else? What else can I already did the cornea joke, Stan. There. Don't be stealing the jokes that I've stolen from other places. I haven't even told you what's going to be on this episode of Dave's Gone By. After all this yakety yak, which is kind of my favorite part of the show, but I say this about almost every segment of Dave's Gone By. This is my favorite segment because they all sort of are. Otherwise, I wouldn't do them. But on today's episode of Dave's Gone By, we have Greeley crimes and old times. Of course, we go into the Greeley Tribune newspaper from our recent hometown, and there's I love burping on camera. There's a couple of columns that are in the local newspaper there every single week. One is called Cop Log, where they phone calls that come into the dispatch for the Weld County Police Department. They're all logged and they're public record. And so the funny, weird ones wind up in the Greeley Tribune. Also, there's a column in there called Greeley 100 Years Ago, where Mike Peters, our friend of the Daverhood, he goes through the newspapers back in 1919 and plucks out the weirdest, goofiest, fun, most nostalgic items that were in the papers 10 decades previously. So that we lump that together into Greeley crimes and old times, and we'll have that in just a few minutes. We also have story time. Yeah, story time. We've been doing this for a while. I've gotten a little bit, I have to say, a little bit jaded with it, a little bit tired. It was a lot of fun a year and a half ago. People are giving me thumbs up and hearts for saying I'm jaded with story time. I'm going to put that to a delay. I'm going to think that those hearts were for the Greeley Crimes in Old Times. They probably were. But yeah, StoryTime. About a year and a half, 2 years ago, I started reading a story on the show called A Cow for Hansel. And it was from a book I found in a gas station. And we just read it week for week and made fun of it. It was fun. It wasn't a bad book, but it was kind of neat to read from cover to cover. And it was child appropriate, except for the jokes that I would make. And we read it. And then I decided, let's read some other books, usually much, much shorter ones. And we did everything from a Bill Cosby Little Bill book, sorry to gosh, to Vegetable Friends, which the potatoes loved very, very much. Hi! To, what else do we do? So many. Rabbi Saul did a couple of passages from a simple Passover guidebook that was about 800 pages long. Just all these books over the past few weeks. But again, especially in the last couple of weeks, I started reading Mrs. Pigglewiggle because I loved the name Mrs. Pigglewiggle, and I thought that'd be fun to read. And it's a cute, funny story from like 1957 that is cute and funny just all on its own. It is what it is. It doesn't need me to make fun of it or be cute with it. So it wasn't really working for me, even though it's an enjoyable story.
What are you reading now, Feminist Baby?
Yes. So now I'm going to go back sort of semi-old school with a short book, a book that I was shocked to see in a delighted way in my local library.
But
so on
it's
StoryTime,
very anti-feministly written.
So we haven't really read it yet, but we're going to see. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a book called Feminist Baby. Feminist Baby finds her voice because, it's never too early to indoctrinate your infants. This is not a joke. This is a real book because, they're making the coolest, but let's just say the doors have blown off in children's books ever since it was like Go the Fuck to Sleep. Since that happened and Everybody Poops, that whole series, it became like, oh, children's books can be weird and cool and fun for grown-ups, and grown-ups will look at it on the shelf and go, whoa, that's different. And so, oops, sorry about that. Whoa, that's different. We're going to read it, Feminist Baby, today on the Dave's Gone By Facebook podcast program of the stream. We'll also have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. And today we go to Kersey, Colorado. This is a town in Weld County, pretty small, got about 1,500 people in it. I've written a poem, a 5-line poem about Kersey, Colorado, which will serve as our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. And that's not all. Of course, we will go inside Broadway. This is our theater segment. It's not a comedy segment. It's a theater segment where I love the theater, playwright, arts journalist, director, actor, and so forth. So I love sharing New York theater. And there's a lot of theater news because in the 2 weeks after the Tony Awards, well, the herd starts to thin on Broadway. And we have a couple of Broadway shows that are closing imminently. And you'll want to know about them. And we have some other Broadway news too. So that's inside Broadway. And then, just because we don't have a quote-unquote guest today, this is all classic old school Dave's Gone By, I needed something to make the show special. I needed something to kind of get me out of my doldrums, get me out of my funk, and have something new to look forward to on Dave's Gone By. So we have a brand new segment that we're going to inaugurate today in the Daverhood, and we're calling it Today, Yesterday. Okay? Today, Yesterday. It's a cute title for what is just basically a quiz. Today is June 22nd, 2019. Well, there have been hundreds of June 22nds over the past hundreds of years. So lots of things happened on this date in history. I'm going to give you a little quiz on 10 things that are related to June 22nd. Why is that nerdy? And nobody can hear you if you're all the way over there. So why is it nerdy? Joyce is saying she's trying to eat without vomiting. So speaking of ancient Roman times, yeah. But how is that nerdy? It's a cute quiz. It's kind of like like a wait, don't tell me sort of thing.
Women actually have us file books when they're doing decimal.
Joyce says maybe next I'll have you all filing books under the Dewey Decimal System, which can be fun. I find it a very zen thing sometimes because I work part-time at our local library, and a lot of what I do is looking on shelves for where books go. And sometimes it's boring as hell and I want to shoot myself. And sometimes it's annoying as hell and I want to shoot some of the people who are in the library making noise. But other times there's a zen about getting things organized, about in a library, everything has a very specific place where it belongs. And what you're doing is putting something exactly in the place where the next person who needs it can find it.
Okay,
I kind of like that.
Okay, Mom.
Is that really monk-like? I mean, monk as in the TV show, the Shaloub thing. Really, well, folks at home, I know it's nerdy. Of course it's nerdy. I work in a goddamn library. But is it OCD? Is it, what would be the word?
Anal.
Or a reaction to OCD?
Anal.
Is it anal? Is it? Really? If it's anal, is that the whole story? Well, I am an assistant. Get it? I'm being cheeky. Wrecked him. I nearly killed him. No buts about it. But anyway, you're watching Dave's Gone By. So how did I get into about the Dewey Decimal System? I'm just saying, if there's something to like about working in a library, that's one of the things. That idea of creating and maintaining order. That you come to a shelf, it's
okay,
all...
Himmler.
That's right. And we could just do that with people. This is an amazing idea. If we could number people that way, we could keep track of the immigrants coming out, the people going out, people of different ethnicities and races. We just give them some numbers right along here, right on the arm,
David.
and that way we can organize people.
Mm-mm.
And we can have color coded things like yellow. We can like pretty. We can make stars on them,
Yes.
or some have stars, some have triangles, so that we get kind of a rainbow effect. This is a brilliant idea.
Isn't it funny that in Catholic school, when you did well, they put a little gold star on your thing?
Oh,
Got
is that?
gold stars.
Well,
yeah.
we used to get gold
Yeah,
and
but maybe
silver
that's
stars
a problem.
pasted in books. Well, yeah, and I don't think they would do that in Germany.
Mm-mm.
I don't think they would put like a yellow star if you got an A in your history class, unless of course you were studying the Holocaust. They probably thought of some other kind. You get a blue circle. Yeah. Today, if you do well, we do not whip you. That's the thing. Where the hell am I going with this? Welcome, by the way, to Sandy and Tony and Stan and all the folks who are watching and tuned into this Dave's Gone By, our 701st episode on this Saturday, June 22nd, 2019. And so I don't know what our dog is jumping for.
The peanut butter.
Oh, okay. Well, you want to?
No.
Okay. So,
The results would be bad.
before we get to what we have to get to, we're going to talk about your miserable experience with the. Well, first Joyce has to cough and hawk up some vomit, and then.
David, you always have a kind word.
Here, use this.
Can you tell the story? I can't.
Well, no, it's not my story to tell. You experienced it, Joyce.
Say it.
I won't say what, but Joyce was interviewing for a really cool academic/job opportunity in Washington, D.C. And she was there earlier this week, which meant she had to leave from Long Island to get to Washington, D.C. And the way to do that is you take the Long Island Railroad to Pennsylvania Station, and then you can either jump on a bus or it's nice to take a train. She booked an Amtrak for that morning to get, and she did it the day before.
Oh, yeah.
So it wasn't like she was same day interviewing on this opportunity and then had to be there, well,
Yeah.
which turned out to be the wisest thing. So why don't you share? And if we can hear the construction
You
behind
say
me.
it, honey, because I can't. I'm going to start coughing again.
Do you want to save it for next week? It won't be as fresh though.
You say it.
'Cause, well, anywho, so part one, since we don't have a car here, my mom is kind enough to drive my wife to the train station, which is about half a mile, almost 3/4 of a mile from where we're staying. Okay, so we get to this Long Island Railroad station. First thing you notice is that the cars are massing about,
Yeah.
and where were they announced? Was there announcements? Was there
Just an
a
announcement
call?
and it was written.
By the way, this is like about 8:30 in the morning. So you're trying to make an 11:05 or 11:30, I think, Amtrak train on that day. So you're leaving plenty of time to get from where we are on the south shore of Long Island to Pennsylvania Station in Manhattan, which is where Amtrak is. So all you have to do is go up a staircase and there's Amtrak.
Yeah.
But you leave a nice cushion.
Good
You're
time.
10, 11, 12. Yeah, I mean, you leave about 2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah, because I know it takes time to, things happen.
Well, no, under proper circumstances, you would have been in Pennsylvania Station at a little bit after 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I know.
And the train would have left at a little bit after
And
11.
I like to get my tea at Oval Pond.
Right.
I like to get snacks for the trip and all kind of.
But
they said, okay, due to I had to ask the man. There was a man on the platform.
Yeah.
And normally I travel light, so with my backpack I don't care. But I have a heavy laptop. I have my wheelie case. I'm like loaded like a pack mule. And I asked the man, I said, are those delays on our side or the other? He said, no, we're fine to Jamaica. But then eastbound, he said it's gonna be from Jamaica to the city. So I'm like, okay, we'll all wait at Jamaica. So we get on the train.
yeah,
We go from our station to the next station. It stops 15 minutes at the next station. Right. So now they've got a backlog of people at Jamaica, and they can't let people off trains at Jamaica because there's no platform space. So they're now stalling you every 15 minutes at each station to Jamaica. So I think it was an express, but even a local, that's like at least an hour or half hour to an hour.
Well, they were saying when you first were boarding the train, there were 15, 20-minute delays.
No, 25, first 20 to 25, then 25 to 30.
And then there was 30 to 40.
Yeah, and then they were like, and then that was even before we got on the train. And then when we got on the train, it was like every station, if we stopped 10 or 15 minutes at each station, I knew I wouldn't make it.
I don't think it would have been for every station. I think they were delaying, and then you would have been maybe 5 minutes per station, and then caught up. You would have been late, but you would have been about 45 minutes late, not an hour and a half. I think if you had stayed on, but it was so nerve-wracking, and you wanted to get there, and you had an Amtrak train to make. So did you get off at Valley Stream, or where'd you get?
I got off at Gibson.
Oh, you got off at Gibson, okay. And you just called an Uber. Yeah. And you said, the hell with it.
I couldn't. I was like, you know what? If it was just me and without all my accoutrement, I could have done it. But bringing all that stuff, I just couldn't take it.
Yeah, because you're carrying a wheelie with several changes of clothes.
Too much stuff.
But the thing is, and I'm not saying this is at all related, but isn't it funny that in the days following the big investigation into MTA overtime, that there had been a couple of derailments and horrible rush hour backlogs?
So my dad worked for the MTA. Eventually was a foreman, but he began as a mechanic, right? So he worked his way up as a kid. He was 18, 19. And they used to have, you can't strike. They did have strikes, but you're not supposed to because you're, your state or your federal, whatever you are.
Yeah.
And they would have sick out, slow down, so like a work slow down. The union would do things like that. So, it's like... Yeah,
if you couldn't strike, you found other ways. It's like when proctologists, they can't go on strike, but they have brownouts. Thank you very much.
David, that's unholy.
Oh, thank you so much. So, I'm not going to sit for that. But
you're not going to sit for that. David, you're not going to sit for that.
So you got to probably Penn Station around what? When did the Uber...
11:05.
No, that's when the train was...
No, that's when I got because
then
it was like rush hour, the end of rush hour. So
it took an hour and a half to get from... Wow.
Yes.
Oh, I thought the cab would have taken an hour.
And we had Waze, which is like the Israeli way to go around and go through traffic. It was crazy. And I finally get there, and then everybody at Penn Station is like crazy. Yeah. I ran, because I'm like, and then Amtrak was fine.
Yeah, Amtrak, I think, left 5 minutes late.
Yeah.
Because you had heard on the train or checked on your phone that Amtrak was running late as well.
And then even coming back, Amtrak, one train was late. I was like, oh, sweet God in heaven. And then, even boarding Amtrak, so you have let's say it's track 16, you have an east and a west staircase. Mm-hmm. So everybody was trying to go the east one, and we were so many people that we were standing by the west one. It spanned across. And this nice Amtrak lady said, look, I see everybody's here. Let me open this door for you. And she opened the escalator and we all went down. And I sat in the quiet car. It was heaven.
Oh, good.
It was so good. Yeah, I enjoyed it. The Amtrak was fine. Yeah. And on the way home, I sat near the window and I charged my phone and my computer.
That's okay. I mean, I'm glad that part. But you have this thing that you're really hoping for. Yeah. May not happen. We're thinking it probably won't happen if it isn't meant to.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be like a job. It would be like an add-on. It would be like an extra thing. But I think, in my mind, they probably wanted somebody either younger or maybe somebody with less experience, or they might want somebody like, I'm all about generativity. So I do things to forward my career, but I also do things to give back to society. So I'm not so like aggressive where it's like, this is my career. I mean, I'm tenured, you know? And so I don't have that same like, like fight. I'm more like, I want to change society, change things to better the lives of people. It's a much different view.
I never want to change the life. I never care about society. I care about me.
But I think that that's a different viewpoint. I think they were great people. I hope that I could do it, do the thing.
In case any of you are watching, we love you.
No. I thought they were wonderful, but I just don't know, based on what I'm doing, is it a fit? It's like, we interviewed people when we did a job search and they were freaking phenomenal, but they weren't a fit for our position we had. So you might say like, this person is awesome, but they're just not what we're looking for. It's like an actor. I told you, if you want someone who's 6 foot, a red-haired 6 foot person who weighs 100 and 300 pounds, you're not going to hire, Christine Chenoweth.
It's like when I went to see, I guess I could say The Ferryman, because I saw it with the original cast, and then they replaced the cast after a couple of months. I went back to see it, and it's rather interesting that there's no reason to do this, but the new actors that they hire kind of look like the older actors, and I get that in the sense that they're just going to retailor the clothes. They don't have to make new costumes. They can sign up.
And they want the continuity. Maybe they want people to have that experience.
There's someone who was like a black-haired, pretty young person. It's still like black-haired. But some guy with a beard still has a beard. It's weird.
Well, they're typing and they're typecasting, right? That's what they do. That's what every acting thing says. It's like, we want, men from, 30 to 35, hipster type, whatever.
No, even, I'm also thinking, especially Avenue Q. When I went back to see Avenue Q just before it closed, and I'm looking at, and that's about the puppets, and the puppets, they aged just a little bit. They're basically the same.
Okay.
They got a little more grizzled, the puppets. But the people holding the puppets, now certainly, one person has to be Asian. One person kind of has to be. But the lead female is merely female, as far as I can tell, and must be, I think, non-black. That's the only criterion.
Oh, that's in the script?
Well, in other words, within the context of the show, which deals with race and which deals with other things, there are certain aspects of her that have to stay the same. And she cannot be a black person because as a song, everybody's a little bit racist, and it would be sort of weird for her to sing.
I think it'd be fine.
Well, it would change.
Everybody has self-hate,
But the point is, there is a black person, there's another character who is specifically black. But what I'm saying is this woman looks remarkably like Stephanie D'Abruzzo, our friend of the Daverhood, who originated the role.
Well, maybe that's what they're doing. I mean, I think they do that. Don't they do that with understudies? The understudy has to bear some resemblance to the act.
Because they have to fit in the clothes.
But also, I think acting more than anything is so specific about the type of person. So if you go for our friend's daughter, I mean, she's an actor in California. If she goes for a blonde or redhead or somebody, she's not going to get it. And it's not like, oh, she's bad. It's like, you're a bad fit.
But for a star, they'll do. So they'll replace they'll replace Bette Midler with Donna Murphy. And those are two very different people.
That's like a guest, guest appearance.
They'll repoint the lights. They'll change the gown. They'll, that's kind of a different thing.
Because they know the money will follow.
Yeah.
But for people, they probably figure, if I see there was a guy at UNC and everything he directed, the lead actress was a blonde.
Well,
no matter what play, musical, it could have been, Oh Calcutta, it could have been anything. And it always was the same type because that was his type. So you can't fight there's a lot of typing.
Well, that's
in
also-
your field. Yeah,
that's
there's a
a-
lot of typing in your field.
Right. Well, 70 words a minute, at least when I'm
You type
I'm
at least
typing in my
120.
field.
You type 120.
I don't type. I wish I typed 120. That'd be cool. Anyway, by the way, oh my gosh, we haven't done anything yet, and it's almost 10 o'clock in the
I
morning.
can't log on to the Facebook downstairs. I'm having a bad mental day.
Yeah. So let's see. Let's get to some of our stuff because I don't want to talk about my testicular cyst, which thank God is fine. Let's see. Let's all say it together. We haven't gotten the chance to just discuss the beauty of Yarp from not Shaun of the Dead.
Oh my God.
What was it? Hot Fuzz. We saw the movie Hot Fuzz,
Yes.
which has a large man with an overbite whose only dialogue
Yes.
through the whole movie, which is a pretty funny movie.
Wasn't he a killer?
Yarp.
He was excellent.
Well, they're all killers.
Oh,
The
that's
whole time, and then
Wasn't
they change their ways.
They were a bad lot of people.
Yeah, basically, it's a cute movie, and I think they even make a sequel called
A
Hot
video?
Fuzz 2. No, I mean, I'm serious. Yeah,
They made it into a video.
but it's by the makers of Shaun of the Dead, which is a classic, by the way. So anyway, there's not really much else to say about Yarp,
Yarp.
except if you hear me say that, Yarp. That's why. What else? What else do I say?
Let's say what we're the thing we're watching now.
Well, we're having a wonderful time watching a show called Man Down.
Oh yes.
Because Joyce loves the Netflix. This is
No, I love also the Acorn. I love the
Yeah.
Acorn and the Netflix
right.
because I think why pay for broadcast TV? Why pay for cable? Cable is a monopoly. It's ridiculous.
Oh, well, we can talk about this. I can talk about. Speaking of, you've got the MTA, which is this monolith,
Yes.
and then out where we live, basically we have a monolithic cable system, which is
There are
Xfinity Comcast.
We learned it on Adam Ruins Everything. There's like only 5 to 8 cable companies that own all the cable access in the United States, and that's why they set the prices so high because they can.
And they're keeping bit rates
Yes.
intentionally lower
Yes.
than they could be.
Yes.
I mean,
higher,
internet is
higher, right?
well, notice the internet is much faster in like
Oh,
Norwegian
yes,
countries
yes.
than it is in America.
Instead,
Because
when I went to
yeah.
Sweden, there was internet everywhere. We had Wi-Fi in the whole country.
so I'm calling Xfinity Comcast because we've been staying here on Long Island, away from our home. So if any burglars are listening, where's the?
No, but we have people watching it. We have people.
Oh, I know.
watching
We
it,
have a neighbor and
and a
several
pit
people.
bull.
Yeah, and we're in a townhome community, so there's eyes on our house essentially all the time.
And we
potatoes, we have eyes in
and
the house all the
We
time.
have a pit bull, and we have a
Actually, no, we have the rapper Pitbull staying
Oh,
in
yes.
our home. Yeah.
Que loca chicas.
So I called them because we're on this special plan, and this is kind of nice of them to do in lieu of just like suspending service.
Mhm.
Like if we move away from a place for 6 months
Yeah,
and you don't want the newspaper for 6 months,
yeah.
you suspend it. You say, please don't deliver the newspaper. We're not here. We're not going to use it. Don't charge us. Don't give us a newspaper.
That's right.
Zero-sum game, right?
That's right.
Well, with cable, which is a utility, they can't do that. It's kind of like lighting and gas and stuff like that.
I got the power. Oh wait, you know who's mad about that?
Who's that? Oh, Chicken. Chicken is furious. Hi, Chicken. And that's been our beak of the week, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so let me bitch about Xfinity Comcast, okay? So I called them to tell them, hey, look, we weren't sure when we first came out here just how long we'd be staying, whether it be just 2 or 3 months or 4 or 5 or maybe half a year. Let's see where that goes. But while we're away, we will not be watching television. I mean, we'll be watching it here, but we won't be watching it back in Colorado. I won't be using the internet there, and we won't be using our home phone. So your triple play plan, which when we moved in was $99 a month plus taxes and fees,
Okay.
is not very useful to us when there's physically nobody using any of that. Can we please suspend that for half a year while we're away and turn it on when we get back? And they're like, well, no, we can't do that because we got to turn off and you got the equipment. Blah, blah, blah. But what we'll do for you is for a certain period of time, we'll keep basic like Wi-Fi internet going,
Okay.
minimal cable,
Okay.
and your home phone working But with taxes and fee, whatever else, it's like $37 a month,
Okay.
which is not better than nothing, but it's also better than the near $200 a month we were spending
It's so obscene.
while we were there.
It's so obscene.
Yeah. So,
How can people afford it?
well, people do. We did when we were living on Long Island and we weren't broke.
It's a waste of time. They didn't have Netflix back then and that time.
Yeah, that's true. So that, okay. So they're nice enough to do that for us, to figure out a plan for us to pay less than $40 a month to keep everything on. And then when we come back, they flip a fucking switch and we'll have everything we had before. Okay. So I call them and I say, you know, we're probably going to be another couple of weeks here beyond the term that we asked for.
What's
Okay.
it?
And we don't want
Your son?
the rates to suddenly zoom back up to $200 if there's going to be a month when we're not even living there. How are you going to charge us $200 for a service we're not using at
That's true. You
all?
tell 'em.
Right? And he said, well, we can't extend your special plan anymore. We don't do that. It's a special thing because you're a loyal, long-term customer. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah. And then that's why we did it for you in the first place. Now
How
it
do
is what it
people
is.
do that?
Yeah. And, you know, it's loyalty. We're loyal 10-year
Wow,
plus.
you know what we are? We're like the mafia.
They're like the mafia. Well, yeah.
They're like the Teamsters.
So now I'm going back and forth with him. I'm saying, you know what, this is
Too much.
ridiculous. You know, how we cut shit back, how we get to the minimum,
Yeah.
so that when we do walk back home and we walk in the doors, that we suddenly have no phone, no internet, and no cable.
Yeah.
Because at least, you know, if we're going to need Wi-Fi the minute we walk into a place if there's no telephone, right? So we got to keep that going. And ultimately, it's like, well, okay, we'll kill your cable. And I'm sure he said that to a million people over the past 2, 3, 4 years that people have been Netflixing and so forth.
Digital streaming.
In digital streaming. You'll still have that you'll get decent, good internet
Right.
and Wi-Fi, and we'll keep the home phone on for I think the home phone is another $10 a month, which is not. So the difference would be paying about $85 versus $100 a month, as opposed to close to $200. But it still irks me that as of already we're paying like $100 a month for something that we're not even close to. We're not touching. We're literally not using. You know? And if we were to kill service immediately, we'd still be billed because all our equipment is back in the house. And that's like $25 a month worth of fees because you've got this modem, you've got this cable box, and you've got these wires.
Why are you talking like Kermit the Frog?
I don't know. It keeps me from screaming. I think it does. Even our lighting, or what was it, Excel.
Let it go.
No, I'm just telling people. I'm assuming people have the same kind of experience. And this is my rant for the morning and I don't understand how this is freaking possible. A couple of weeks ago, we get the bill for Xcel Energy, which is what, lighting? Or is it, it's not gas. It's electric, right. We've been away. And we've unplugged nearly everything. Everything that,
Including my ventilator.
I mean, yeah. Joyce's ventilator, mine iron lung, out of the wall. We're not using any energy. Unplug the clocks. I mean, there's nothing. We're just, for a penny, we're all the strip outlets that we had off, unplugged, out of the wall. Nobody's turning on lights. Nobody's doing anything in the friggin' house. Somehow, a month ago, our bill was $70, which was actually about $20 more than our electric bill for the same exact period the year earlier when we were home watching TV, using the microwave, using the computer, using everything, turning on lights on and off, putting on the air, when being the time of year for air conditioning. And we're like, how does an empty house that is using no energy suddenly get billed $20 more than when we were physically there using that energy? So I call up Xcel. I'm like, hey guys, how does this happen? What is this? And you're like, we don't know. Well, nobody's there. Nobody's there. We have one person who goes in once or twice a week to check on the place, to make sure nothing's broken or stolen.
Pitbull the rapper, maybe.
And we got Pitbull and the rapper living there, but he's
in there.
he has a generator. He brings it with him.
Yeah, because he's from Miami, so he's used to probably, storms.
And she's like, well, you have to go in there and start doing your circuit breakers and see if something there is generating energy and it is off the. I'm like, you can't have your van from outside kind of look at. So no, we just read the meter. That's just a dial on the outside of your house. And I'm like, well, we're 2,000 miles away. Kind of difficult for us to do this test. That and it's like, can you get your neighbor to do it? Why am I going to ask my neighbor to do that? Yeah. And I'm like, when we do this, can we have someone from XL come and do it with us so we know what we're doing? So, no, we don't do that, sir.
Wow.
Yeah, this is utilities in America.
Times are tough, David. Times are tough.
Well, basically what it means is between the cable, internet, and TV, well, not TV anymore, the lighting, right, and our other utilities, which have a base level happening, like heat when it was in the winter to a certain level. We're paying like $200-something a month for something we are not using for one moment. I just find that a little exasperating.
Ask the snowbird.
Well, yeah. I guess the Florida birds who can afford to fly down to Florida, maybe they get their grandchildren to take their co-ops and for.
That's what we need.
What, a grandchild? That'd be a little difficult at this point.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we would have to stop the show right now, have sex,
go back in time,
make a baby.
We'd have to go back in time, David. Like what's your show? Yesterday, today.
Yesterday.
So
yeah.
We'd have to do yesterday.
Yeah. Well, okay. So we'll go back to yesterday, make a baby.
Or just adopt a DACA kid.
What, can we make one of those babies now that we have all this genetic stuff that prematurely ages?
No,
that sort of looks like Jimmy Durante when it's 4 years old. No, but then he could have a grandkid.
But it's very hard to find clothes for someone like that because they're small and they got skin flaps.
Actually, it'd be cheaper. Oh, that's true.
The skin flaps are hard.
You can safety pin the skin flaps to the inside of the clothing.
Please, I'm going to vomit.
All right, don't vomit. I always do. Every time I say something that's a little, you go, I'm going to vomit. You're not going to vomit. I mean, you might vomit if you really have a migraine, but you're not going to vomit from anything I say.
You never know.
If you do, I'm putting you on camera just for that. And why don't you turn up the AC? It's like I'm schwitzing like a madman in here.
Because you're
I'm exerting. I'm ranting. I'm yelling.
You're
Emoting. Get the AC back down to like 70 or something. What did you put it up to?
I don't know. I can't see it with my head.
Plus, I got the lights on. Now I really feel Jewish, ladies and gentlemen. Dave Lefkowitz here with the Dave's Gone By Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the stream.
I'm getting rid of some of the extra lights. It'll be cooler.
All right. So it is a little bit after 10 o'clock. We haven't done anything on the show yet. And we've got so much to do. We've got our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. We've got StoryTime, of course, with Feminist Baby. We have our Inside Broadway segment. We've got our quiz called Today, Yesterday.
Am I taking this quiz or are they taking
it? I would love for you to be part of it.
I hope they take it because they're smarter.
Well, the point is, I'll ask you the question, and then you'll leave a little pause, which will give the folks at home time to see if they know the answer too. But before we get to all that, are you ready to, speaking of back home in Colorado, are you ready for a bit of Greeley Crimes at All Times?
Yes.
Yay! Oh yes, we are so ready for this. We're more than ready for this. It's our weekly segment called Greeley Crimes and... Oh, where the hell is it? Gotta find this. Here's our theme music. Yes, Greeley Crimes at All Times, ladies and gentlemen. We do this every week. It's a mix. It's a melange.
Are you cooler now?
Yes, already.
Okay.
Yeah. Of items that are in the Greeley Tribune newspaper, our newspaper from back home, that still publishes 4 days a week, which is pretty good for publishing in this era. Yay, Greeley Tribune. So They have two columns, one of which involves phone calls that come into the police department from people needing help, and the other is of Greeley 100 years ago. So what were stories in the newspapers way back when? I've got like a piece of mustache hanging over my lip that's really annoying me
You
here.
want me to cut it?
And it's not annoying me physically, but visually, I keep looking at it like, yeah, get this on that thing. Let's call extra attention to my hair lip, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be fun. Here we go.
Okay, gotta find a scissor. That takes me long.
Yeah, somewhere in the, we should have 4 scissors in there somewhere. Oh my gosh. Can't find, oh, got one. Sure.
Can you come to me? Come to me.
Oh,
Where, show me.
oh, you're not wearing your
Point,
glasses to
point,
do this.
point.
Uh-huh. Right there.
Here?
Yeah. Sure, it's hanging lower. Is this great television or what?
How's that?
Oh, better.
Good.
There we go. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Sure, sure.
I'm seeing this black strand hanging over my lip. There you go. Thank you so much. Now everybody's going to be looking at that strand.
You have
It's
to
like,
sing I Enjoy Being a Girl now.
I know what, you know, it's funny. They ought to say I enjoy being a boy because it rhymes better. Yeah. And remember, we were interviewing Tom Jones a couple of weeks ago. Tom Jones, the theater guy, and he once he did a parody song called "I Enjoy Being a Goy," which was kind of fun.
God help us all.
This is the man who wrote the Fantastics. He
God
wrote
help
that
us.
song.
Yeah, I'm sure he wrote a lot of stuff in his insane brain.
Anywho,
Insane in the membrane.
speaking of insane things, it's time for Greeley Crimes and Old Times. Are you ready, babe?
Why is Ufty so like animated? He's like walking around like he's on drugs.
Because he knows we're doing TV and radio. This is
Okay.
exciting to him. He's like a TV dog.
He's
He had his 30 seconds of fame.
That's true. He's the
15.
most famous member of the family.
Okay. Our first item in Greeley Crimes and Old Times. Police
Yeah.
responded to 19th Street
Okay, hold on.
for a woman.
Wait.
Oh, no, here's the police responding. For a woman carrying a bag of flour,
Yeah.
walking in circles around the caller's trash can.
What could she be doing with the flour?
I have this image of her like pouring flour
Maybe she
around.
was watching like Nailed It or one of those baking shows, and she wanted to try. You know.
Maybe.
Maybe she was filming an intro.
That must have been it. I just summed up with this image of a big bag of flour kind of circling
no.
around and around a garbage can.
How do they know it's flour?
Good question. Well, I mean, the police responded to this one.
Mhm.
So they would have said, oh, she was carrying a bag of flour. As opposed, I mean, manure would have been worse.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Actually, many things would have been worse.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, this in some ways, I don't know, but for me, this is up there with the greatest story ever.
What?
And it's an old one. It's from 100 years ago.
Okay.
But something about this, something about what happens and the imagery of this makes me think this is one of the best things we've ever.
Okay.
Several farmers have produced a wine from raisins.
Oh, God, David, please.
Because it's illegal, barrels of this Italian wine were poured into a ditch outside of Frederick,
Oh,
Colorado.
no.
Well, several cows drank
No.
from the ditch. The cows
Yeah.
became drunk on this raisin wine. They tore down fences and kicked pedestrians.
You're gonna eat me? You ate my brother. I'm gonna kick you. You ate my brother.
The
You ate
cows.
my mom. I'm
Yeah.
gonna kick you with my hook.
Oh man! I mean, it's not bulls. These are just docile
God bless
cows.
them. You know, you get people south. It's like spring break in Miami or Panama.
It is because the cows were snorting and bellowing for a while, and then they all laid down in the streets to sleep off the alcohol. Oh,
Then they put them in jail like hobo cows and got them out of Frederick.
yeah. In Renee News, hobo swim party, 3 o'clock.
Yes, that's
But just this idea of like these cows really like
Did they
kicking
not
people.
think that cows would drink from the ditch of shop?
People don't think people, or you don't think that an animal's going to get.
Yeah.
I guess it will.
And then the milk was fed to the children.
Oh, you think that would make a diff?
I think it would.
Wow. Wow. Well, there'd be some pretty weird births going on
Yeah.
in terms of like cows coming out,
Yeah.
alcoholics.
Yeah. That's a weird one.
Hey, what was an alcoholic cow drink?
What?
Mu Nishevitz.
Oh, that
Just
should
thought
be
about
what is an observant cow drink.
Oh, that's good too. Police responded to 24th Street Road
Okay.
for a report of a woman who had been bitten by a dog. Where?
In her tush?
On her right butt cheek.
Well, that's like mommy.
What?
My mother, when she was home healthy, got bit by a dog in her tushy.
On her ass?
That's
Really?
all she has that's fat. Everything else is skinny. What's he gonna grab?
Good point. Good
So
point.
you
Was,
got-
did he break the skin?
Yeah.
Oh,
She
whoa.
had to go to the hospital and everything.
Holy crap, what kind of dog was this?
I'm not done. It was some kind of dog.
Wow. It wasn't one of our dogs,
No.
but just saying. Just saying. Yeah. But it was on this woman, it was on her right butt cheek,
Mm.
which, I say, at least it wasn't on her wrong butt cheek.
Yes,
Okay.
that would have been
That
terrible.
would have been awful, yes. County Agent M.E. Knapp is in badly in need of pigs for his youth agricultural groups. He's willing to buy pigs of good ancestry, but if that doesn't happen, he may have to go out on some dark nights with gunny sacks to obtain the pigs he needs.
Oh, come on. That's like, what is it?
This man is doing something else with pigs that we don't really want to know. If he's running out with a sack to catch pigs at night, he's not just getting them for the kids, if you know what I'm saying.
I know.
I think we do.
What's this thing with Nihal and I saw?
Oh, the pig mask thing.
Yeah.
That movie,
Moonlight?
no, not Moonlight.
Bitter Moon.
Bitter Moon, that's it. Anywho.
Could you hand me my tea, honey?
Yeah, of course. Oh, hold on.
Look, he's like on it. Look at him. He's crazy pants. Look.
Fine.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, here we go. Many reports of stolen garden hoses have been reported to Greeley police. Residents who left their hoses in the yard overnight are now having them stolen. Fred Evans on 7th Avenue said he had a 50-foot hose stolen last night.
That
Yeah,
must have hurt.
I'm just sprinkling stories like that throughout the broadcast. Oh, yeah, dang it, that's a little hose joke.
Yes, it is.
Thank you very much. Now let's get back to modern times then. Police responded to 50th Street for a woman. Oh dear. Oh, this would be a real one. This would be one where I would send the police
Okay.
for a woman allegedly hiding chopped up bodies in her basement.
Ah,
Well, it was 50th Street. Stuff goes on there. Police checked. No bodies.
ah.
She ain't got no bodies. No.
Why would somebody say that?
I don't know. Maybe they saw. Maybe she keeps meat in the freezer, or they're watching Desperate
Oh,
Housewives.
they're watching one of those shows.
Yeah. Anyway, what else do we have? We have. Oh my goodness, hon. Oh. Hobo alert! Hobo alert! Now explain the importance of hobo alert, if you want to mind,
Well,
dear.
Hobos are they're two sources of news in ye olden times in Greeley, Colorado. Well, actually three. One are hobos being put in the drunk tank and then kicked out of town or making them to do forced work.
Yeah.
The second one are chickens that are roaming the street. Actually, there's four. Automobiles that crash into things or
Right.
go fast. And then the last one during the war was the German scare.
Oh,
those were
yeah,
the
especially
big four, yeah.
1919 or
But
1817.
hobos are written like the plague of the,
Yeah. Well, we have an old-timey hobo alert, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Johansson.
Here, Tucky, I'm sitting on the dog's bed. Hold on.
Yeah, make room for the doggy there. Joe Johansson, who is, by the way, according to the Greeley Tribune 100 years ago, or it was called the Tribune Republican back then, and when I read this, you'll understand why. Joe Johansson, a peculiar acting foreigner,
There you go.
had been in jail.
Yarb.
Yeah, yarp. Had been in jail for vagrancy and was supposed to be released last night, but he told the sheriff he didn't want to leave because the jail is the best place he's ever lived.
I like the jail. 3 hot in a cot.
Yeah, that's what I thought, right there.
Forced rape. It's great. And the beating and
Mm.
the degradation rituals. I love it.
Or for Joe Johansson, it's basically, place to piss and lutefisk. you know,
Ludicrous. Oh, don't go there.
I already went there. Too late.
I was so sick in Sweden.
Harry Hottle.
Oh.
Oh no! Oh, Harry. He was arrested for joyriding.
Everybody knows about Harry the Hottle. He used to drive a special fast Ford model.
Well, no, this is Harry Hottle, man, and not good. He's one of these people who joyrides.
Oh.
He was joyriding for the third time, and he was given a day to raise the $10 fine.
Oh no.
Now, however, he's left town. No one knows where he went, but he apparently got out of town rather than serve 7 days in jail for not paying the $10
he has a fast
fine.
car. What do they expect? He's going to hightail out of there.
He's got a fast car. He's going 17 miles an hour. It's 1919. He's getting out of town real quick.
He probably
Don't have to drive too far.
He probably hit one of the drunken cows.
You know, that could
Or
be.
maybe he fell in the ditch of raisin wine. God.
Could be. Hey, police work. Oh, our favorite new song. Not the squid one, but the other one. We should play this. Just a little bit of it. I don't know if we'll be breaking any copyright laws by doing this, but have to play this song. Just part of it. Written by an alumnus, actually, of the David Letterman show, of all things.
Eating all the bread down at the dump. I'm a raccoon. Breaking in the homes and stealing all the stuff. I'm a raccoon. Wearing my mask. Yay! Looking like a bear. Yay! Wearing my mask and looking like a bear. I'm a raccoon.
Apparently, that's the international anthem for furries, by the way, the
Really?
raccoon
Is it?
song.
Is it?
Then they love that song, yeah,
I
because
would like it too if I was a furry. It's very positive.
yeah. Well, except that being attacked by dogs.
Yeah.
But other than that,
It's
the
an
song,
occupational hazard.
but that John Schwartzwelder song came to mind when
Uh-oh.
I heard, well, when I read this about, and this is brand new, by the way, police were called to 16th Street Drive for a report of a family of raccoons visiting the caller's garage.
Uh-oh.
Dispatchers told the caller not to pick up wildlife and to keep the garage clean of food and trash to prevent future visits.
You gotta call the wildlife. Remember quoting Aunt Bonnie. What does Aunt Bonnie say?
She says,
Aunt Bonnie
do you dispose of what
do you do dead raccoons?
do you do dead raccoons? Yes. We told that story a couple of weeks ago. So I guess these are living raccoons, which is a lot tougher actually to dispose
You
of.
need that wild man catcher.
They're a raccoon. Bum, bum, bum. So every week on the Greeley Crimes and Old Times segment of Dave's Gone By, one of the things that we also do is we get away from Greeley for a moment and we go elsewhere in the world, in the universe, for a story that, that is odd or weird or wonderful. And we have one that is so to my taste and to my interest. Dateline, Miami, Florida. This comes from the Miami Herald via, I think, the Associated Press. A Florida man.
Yeah. Oh, manatee?
No, not a Florida manatee, just a Florida man. Charged with burglary, defecated
Oh,
during his criminal trial.
God.
And then, what do you think he tried to do?
He did it in the courtroom?
He did it in the courtroom.
He threw it at the judge.
He tried to throw his feces at the judge.
Mhm.
Yes, he did. She ducked. 33-year-old Dorleans Philidor was sitting in a wheelchair. Come on, picture it. Get the image of this. Dorleans Philidor was sitting in a wheelchair next to Miami-Dade Circuit Judge Lisa Walsh when officials say he tried to throw his excrement at her. It did not reach her. No jurors were present for this.
Thank God.
Dozens of correctional officers responded, and the trial was moved. He was moved too,
Yeah.
while the courtroom was sanitized.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Circuit Court spokeswoman Eunice Sigler, I love the names here. Eunice Sigler says Philidor also defecated on himself in a holding cell on Thursday. This just happened yesterday, by the way. By the way, what is the marvelous upshot to this story?
I don't think there's any.
Jurors acquitted him of the burglary charge.
Why?
He was found not guilty,
Oh, wow.
although he still faces another trial in a grand theft auto case. It's unclear whether Philidor will face any charges involving the feces. What?
That's disgusting. It's one thing if you poop yourself, it's another to throw it.
I know, that's a shitty thing to do.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just awful. Yeah. Oh, wait. This is the bell. You know why? It goes dong.
You've lost your mind.
I know. I'm sorry. I apologize for everything. Everything I've ever done in my life, I just apologize for, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go back to our regular Greeley Crimes of all time, shall we? We shall. Let's see. A representative of the American Chico Company. What do you think Chico would make?
Jeans.
No, not a bad answer.
What?
But think of the Spanish root. Chico.
Men's clothing?
Gum.
Oh.
Occurred to me like chiclets. Maybe that's where it's from. But anyway, Chico, makers of chewing gum, they're visiting the area. A representative of the gum. He announced that Colorado citizens chew more gum than any other state in the union.
Wow.
Who knew? Or does he say that to every town he goes to?
Probably.
He's like, oh, you Guam residents,
chew
you may
more.
not be much, but you chew more gum, right? I don't know. Or maybe it's just there was nothing to do.
They couldn't drink the raisin wine.
Yeah, if you're a cowboy and you didn't want to get gum cancer from tobacco, I guess you chew gum. And we are a healthier batch out there, so maybe one of the things instead of eating, people are just chewing gum for an hour and get 2 calories instead of 200. I don't know. Anyway,
That's a good idea.
just popped it into my head. What else? Let's do one more Greeley Crime and Old Time, and then we'll move on to the next segment. Okay, do you want a crime or an old time?
Crime.
You want a crime? Here we go. A man called dispatchers to ask what he could do to better protect his children. The man said he had made multiple deposits at a local sperm bank
Oh, God.
and recently learned he had fathered multiple children, but he didn't think they were being taken care of by their legal parents.
How
What?
does he know?
Maybe you're not allowed, right? If you're a sperm donor,
No.
I get. First of all, I don't know if there is a local sperm bank in northern Colorado,
Maybe it means he was just popular at the bar.
because I keep gallons of the stuff just behind our garage, just in case anybody asks.
Oh,
Just in case there's a woman, she can't conceive, and she wants a little bit of the old Dave in her.
Oh, God. Honey.
I'm ready with a siphon, a little syringe bulb. I'm like, come on, let's do this. Let's make baby Daves, if you know what I'm saying. Because who wouldn't want to look like this and sound like this, right? Well, thank you, sweetie. Oh, you're not feeling well, are you? Crap. Let's get through the next segment real quick, and then you can have a nap or
Yeah, I can
something.
sit up. As long as I can sit up and not vomit, I'm good.
But anyway, this is Greeley Crimes, or has been, Greeley Crimes at all times.
Mr. Horace Greeley was no fool. I'm sure that you'll agree with me that Greeley was no fool.
What he is getting at is that Mr. Greeley was no fool.
Yippee-yi, 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 yi-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi.
You are listening to and watching the Dave's Gone By Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the Stream with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling and adorable and wonderful wife, Joyce, whom I love very, very much and who is always such a huge help to me. And speaking of help, how can I neglect to mention the sponsors, or one of the sponsors of this program, the fine, wonderful folks. I can never get this right. Let me move here, and let me move this here. There we go. Hewlett Minuteman Press, the copy kings of Broadway in Hewlett, Long Island. You can even see the address if I pull it real close. 1315 Broadway in Hewlett. It's basically, it moved a couple of doors down, but it's still in the same strip mall right on Broadway in Hewlett, Long Island. It's across the street from the giant Petco and about 2.5 blocks from the LIRR station. Hewlett Minuteman. They are the copy kings. They will do everything from double-sided color copies on nice laminated paper or single-sided black and white copies, putting your logo or insignia on clothing or uniforms. They will put your business logo or picture or name on everything from pens and pencils to sporting good wear to calendars to banners. They do Mylar balloons. They do wedding invitations and holiday cards. If you name it to help your business, Hewlett Minuteman Press can help. They are the franchise owned and operated by the Torong family since the mid-1970s. I've been using them long before I started doing this program, and now they support the program, which is quite wonderful. But you should support them. You know why? Because if you tell them Dave sent you get 10% off any job, big or small. So give them a call, 516-569-5577, 516-569-5577. Hun, pick a letter of the alphabet.
L.
L. Let's see on their list of the things that they do, just things involving the letter L. Oh my God, it's a big one. Labels, sure. Laminations, plastic and wood. And if you've ever had your wood laminated, you know just how delightful that can be. Lapel pins, laser-compatible stocks and inks, laser-proof thermography, law enforcement printing, layouts, letterheads, lettering by hand and by computer, logos, and even lunch bags.
Wow.
Just the letter L from Hewlett Minuteman Press. 516-569-5577. They are the copy kings. Okay, so we've got so much more to do on this episode of Dave's Gone By. We have our story time with Feminist Baby. We're going to go inside Broadway for news of the Rialto. We have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. We're going to Kersey, Colorado today. And we'll do the Friends of the Daverhood also. But are you ready for our brand new segment? I don't even have music for, well, I can try maybe this. I'm going to try this as music, even though I can't really play it, too much of it. It's a quiz, ladies and gentlemen. Thought of this just last night. I'm like, why not? Why not try something new? Since this is June 22nd, 2019, I thought, why not have sort of a quiz that is based on this date in history? We've had a bunch of June 22nds going back years and decades and even centuries. What happened on this date? So it's not like you suddenly have to come up with it off the top of your head. I'll ask a question, and you guys at home can think of the answer. I've tried to keep most of them pretty easy, but you know how it is with quizzes and watching Jeopardy and stuff like that. Something that you actually know should be on the tip of your tongue, and sometimes it is, but then when you're called on to remember it instantly, you're like, so see if you can get these in our quiz. Now let's see if this will play and be a good one to play. Really?
Where are you? Where are you? Will you answer?
So will you answer me? Will you guys be able to answer these quiz questions in a quiz that we're calling Today, Yesterday? So today is June 22nd. What happened in yesteryear on June 22nd? First question. Ready, babe?
Yeah.
I know you're not feeling too well, so you need to.
I can try. How many are there? So
There's 10. It's like 10 questions.
Oh boy, okay, I'm
If
gonna
it
try.
takes forever, we're not going to do all of
I'm
it.
trying.
Here we go. Born today
Yeah.
in Austria in 1906. And then I'll ask you, by the way, I'll ask you for the answer, but I'm going to give some time for people at home to play along. Born in Austria in 1906 on June 22nd, one of Hollywood's greatest film directors. This person's films include The Apartment, Witness for the Prosecution, Double Indemnity, and The 7-Year Itch. Name this director. Dum 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 be doo, la 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 lumpy doo, da da ba dum bum bum lumpy doo. Can you give me the answer true? Who's that director?
Archduke Ferdinand.
No, it's not Archduke Ferdinand. Although he, in terms of directorial choices, he he did pretty good shooting.
Oh,
Yeah, baby. Want to take another stab?
no, I don't know. Who is it?
And the answer is one of the great Hollywood directors of all time, Billy Wilder,
Oh, yeah. I knew
whose films also included Sabrina and Sunset Boulevard.
that.
The great Billy Wilder was born on June 22nd in 1906. So, wow, it was over 100 at this point.
Yeah.
Born today also in White Plains, New York,
Oh,
in 1928.
okay.
His recent roles have been in shows like NCIS and Bones,
Oh.
where he plays a father figure to already kind of grown guys.
Oh,
And he's best known as Papa Walton. Who are we talking about?
oh, David. I want to say Mark Harmon, but it's not.
He plays Mark Harmon's dad.
Oh, I don't know I don't know the name.
What? Wait. Don't tell me. Wait.
Wait, Mr. Wait.
Ralph Waite. That's the
Tom
guy's a little
Waite.
hint there. Not Tom Waits, Ralph Waite, who, by the way, was an ordained Presbyterian minister
Who
before
is
he
it?
got into
Chicken is
the whole
one.
acting. Yeah. So, okay. Remember, we're doing June 22nd. That is our date in our Today, Yesterday quiz. Born today, another one. Here we go. Born in 1932. I'm going to give you her name. You got to give me her show.
Okay.
Her name, well, this woman did a lot of work for the BBC. Her name is Prunella Scales.
Oh my God.
Prunella Scales, best known for co-starring with a Monty Python alumnus in a seaside town, a sitcom set in the seaside town of Torquay.
Oh, Mrs. Marple.
No, she's not Mrs. Marple.
Mrs.
She would be
Marple.
appropriate for Marple, and we've probably seen her in one or
Mrs.
two.
Marple.
No.
But I don't know. I'm not smart. I don't know. Gotta get dumb
Well,
ones.
seaside town,
I don't know.
ex-Monty Python guy,
I don't know. Oh,
BBC.
Fish Called Wanda.
the guy from A Fish Called Wanda,
Nah,
his name, tall,
I don't know. Leonard Nimoy.
kind of looks a little like that. John Cleese,
I don't
his sitcom after Monty Python.
know. I don't know. I'm very warm, honey. I think
Oh.
I'm gonna pass out.
Prunella Scales played Sybil.
I think I'm gonna die.
Yeah, well, don't die until I finish my show. That would be really rude of you to have a medical emergency while I'm trying to do radio here. Anyway, of course, I'm talking about Faulty Towers.
Yes, that's what I
That's
meant.
the show.
Faulty Towers.
Faulty Towers.
Did I
How are you
say-
doing at home? Are you
Did I
getting
say
some of
Faulty
these?
Towers? That's the one I meant.
Let me say, I mean, it's funny. In the first half hour of the show, I got all sorts of responses and emails
I'm
and
gonna-
things back. I'd love to hear more from you and thoughts of how you guys are doing so far. We've had 4 questions in our Today, Yesterday
Let's
quiz.
put it this way: they can't be doing worse than me. So
So far, maybe you'll
I don't know any of this stuff. I'm a dum dum. I don't know dominant culture.
June 22nd, 1984.
Yeah.
That was the date of the maiden flight,
Yeah.
emphasis on the term maiden, for this British airline owned
Oh,
by.
I know this one.
All right, give it a couple
I
seconds.
know this one.
British airline
It's not
owned by
Air
someone
France.
with the initials RB.
Richard Branson. It's
Who owns?
Virgin. Yay!
That's true. Virgin Airlines made its maiden flight today, back in 1984. So wow, that put it like, was it 35 years ago? Yeah. Wow. Cool. Feels like it'd be longer. You okay, babe? Oh.
Good.
In 1898, told you we roll it back here. On June 22nd,
Yeah.
the U.S. 5th Army Corps
Yeah.
landed in Cuba.
Oh no.
For what conflict?
Bay of Pigs.
No, that Bay of Pigs was 1963, I think,
Bay
or
of
62. So wait, give the folks at home a chance to think. In 1898, the Army Corps landed in Cuba for what conflict? Is anybody watching? And the answer is, so I would love to have it so interactive without the delay that people could actually see that they're answering here. But I don't know how long the time delay is. But
It's 1902.
the answer is the Spanish-American War.
Well, why in Cuba?
I guess, I don't know, there were Spaniards there. Maybe did Spain own Cuba at that point? And that was before it was liberated by alcohol for a Cuba Libre. All right, here we go. Now to the second half of questions we have. Born today in 1947, Howard Kalin became the lead singer for the Turtles. And then he joined another member of that band
Yeah.
to be in what musical duo?
Duo?
Yeah. So they
Turtle.
left the Turtles.
Thelma and Louise?
No, not Thelma and Louise. Even though this other person had a nice, high, womanly voice for harmonies.
Oh, the Carpenters.
Not the kind of thing, join the Carpenters, no.
I don't know.
And they did sing on a couple of Frank Zappa albums and tours as this duo.
Nico and Poo-Poo?
And they had a radio program, too, for a few years on K-Rock. The answer is Flo and Eddie,
I don't even know.
which is Howard Kalin and Mark Bowman.
David, I don't know any of this.
So happy birthday, Howard Kalin.
You need smart people, not
This is,
me.
well, this is a lot of pop culture stuff. Here's another one. Maybe this one's a little tougher. This one you have to sort of know pop culture stuff. Oh, Cynthia Shube says, I can't believe I knew that one. Not sure if she knew the Spanish-American War one or the Flo and Eddie.
Help me. Cynthia, help me. You know stuff,
Well,
Cynthia.
but thanks
Share.
for writing in. So, yeah, I need this interaction. I love this.
Cynthia, write in. You know stuff. You're smart.
Well, here's a tougher one. Born today in 1948. Before going solo,
Yeah.
this songwriter, guitarist, and producer was known for two different bands, the Nazz and Utopia.
Who knows this, David? It's so esoteric.
Well, it's not that esoteric if you kind of know rock and popular music.
Who is it?
He's Cynthia Shube. Oh, she got the War one correct. So yay Cynthia. See how backlogged we are in time on this? Anyway, maybe I'll leave more time then. Born today in 1948. He's now known as a solo artist, but he's produced a lot of albums. He was also in two bands, the Nazz and Utopia.
Is it Sting?
It's not Sting, not a bad answer. Probably his best known song was from 1972, Hello, It's Me. The one that kind of begins with a phone call. Hello, it's me.
Phil Collins?
Nothing, but it's that genre of music, at least at that point. And the answer is,
Oh,
okay. That's a different,
Well, then I don't know.
that is a Phil Collins song. That's a different song.
I don't know. Ask Cynthia.
Okay, Cynthia, you want to take a stab at this one? So, who is this artist that we're talking about? And by the way, no fair checking Google and Wiki, which is what I did to create this damn quiz. So the whole point is trivia, top of the head. Do you have it?
Smart. You're too smart.
Well, I don't know how well I do if this was put at me spot on.
You're too smart.
Well, the answer is
Jeopardy Dave.
Todd Rundgren.
Oh, yes.
Todd Rundgren was born today in 1948. Okay. Born 1 year later on this date, June 22nd. I'm going to give you the name of this one. Meryl Streep. Meryl Streep was born today. After starting in the theater, Meryl Streep, Magic Meryl, made her film debut.
Oh,
And
I
then-
know this.
Okay.
Little Women?
No.
No, the women? The
No.
sisters?
No.
The sister women?
No.
Hot Sluts on
Oh.
Ice?
No, Meryl Streep did not make her debut in Hot Sluts on Ice. She didn't do that film until 1994. I don't know what you're
The
saying
Witches
about it.
of Eastwick.
This is a 1977 movie that
Oh, Sophie's Choice.
No, she did Sophie's Choice later on. In fact, I think she won an Oscar for it. But this is a bit beforehand. She really hit the ground running in movies. Within a couple of years, she was already a name in film.
Little Foxes.
No.
Foxy Lady.
She was not in Fox and Me. You're just throwing out names there. I'll give you a hint about this film, though. The thing is, the 1977 movie starred Jane Fonda as a young Lillian Hellman. What was the name of the movie?
Oh, The Children's Hour.
Oh, no. That's a play written by Lillian Hellman.
Yeah.
This is a movie based on her life, based on her autobiographical book, Pentimento.
What does Pentimento mean?
I'm not sure. Probably some sort of like memoir thing. Or if you take an olive and you stick a pen through it, it becomes a pentimento.
Are you okay?
Or actually, if I write a letter to Barrett Eugene Hansen, our friend of the Daverhood, Who is Dr. Demento?
Yeah.
I'm taking a pentimento. All right, I've wasted enough time on this question. Thank you. Here, do the chicken. The chicken's bigger. Okay.
Oh my God.
Anyway, the answer to that question is a film you might remember called Julia from 1977.
No, I know. What was it about?
It also featured Vanessa Redgrave and Jason Robards playing Dashiell Hammett.
Whoa.
So yeah, it was all about this
You
friendship that.
told me you were Dashiell Hammett.
Oh no, I'm a dashing Hammett.
Ah.
There you go. 2 more questions in our Today-Yesterday quiz on Dave's Gone By. Someone who died today.
Oh.
I know, a little sad. In 2008, it was 11 years ago today, that this comedian died. And this comedian did 14 stand-up comedy specials for HBO, on which, and there's a giveaway here, on which he was able to say the dirty words that got WBAI radio in
That's
trouble
your guru.
in 1978.
That's your guru.
My favorite comedian of all time.
George Carlino.
His daughter was on the show a couple of years ago. I am, as Joyce said, talking about the great George Carlin. Yes, he passed away 11 years ago on June 22nd. Are you ready?
Do you know when he was born? Like what day he was born?
Oh, I have to look that up. He wasn't that old. I think he was in his mid-70s
Wow.
when he died. Well, you know, he did every
hard
possible.
life, yeah.
Probably lung. I don't remember what got him, some kind of cancer. All right, we got our last question ready for you, folks. Another death. 50 years ago today, okay, this iconic actress and singer was only 47 years old
Whoa.
when she died of an overdose. Her birthplace in Grand Rapids, Grand Rapids, Minnesota, is now a museum. Her daughter was only 2.5 when she appeared with her mom in a film called In the Good Old Summertime.
Oh,
Okay, wait, don't say it.
I don't know. and
Let's get the people a chance, because Cynthia got George Carlin.
I thought it was Marilyn Monroe. Cynthia, help me, girl. You're smart. Come on, Cynthia.
No, Marilyn Monroe was dead by like 1970 something.
I thought it was somebody else.
No, this is someone almost as iconic
Is it
as Marilyn Monroe. Who? No. Okay, and give me a little more time, and I'll
I
reiterate.
need somebody.
She died of an overdose at 47, and this is the most appropriate considering the weekend that there's, all of New York is Pride Month. And this weekend, I think, is the big Pride Parade out here in Long Beach. So the most iconic person that gay people love is, or was, who? Friends of,
Oh, okay.
no, you say it, Judy Garland. Judy Garland passed away today, 50 years
Why
ago.
do the gays like her so much?
I think because she suffered, you know? She sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow, which is imagining.
She cuckoo pants?
Well, she was drugged out. She was a very difficult. I was reading the information about her in putting this quiz together.
Seltzer? You want lemon seltzer?
No, I got my iced tea. I'll cup.
You want seltzer?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
You want root beer? You got root beer?
I got root beer. Oh no, it's cream soda. But thank you so much. So, and Cynthia got Judy too. She is a friend of Judy.
I want Cynthia on my team.
Yeah, I know, right? So,
Cynthia is the smart one of the
hope you guys, if you want to write in how you did on our quiz, that was our yesterday quiz. And let me know if you enjoyed it. Let me know if you want me to do more of this, because there are 365 days in a year. We can hit all of them. I kind of liked it. I sort of like a different thing. Yeah, or 366, right? Yeah.
You need to have smarter people than me.
Well, nobody's smarter than you,
Yes,
darling.
you need a Cynthia here, or you need someone who's not suffering migraine. That would be helpful.
So Robert from my high school says, "Hey Dave, hey Robert, how you doing? Hope you just came in and you missed the quiz. Remember, if you miss any or
Of course he did. He's from your high school.
I don't mean he got the quiz wrong. I mean he tuned in towards the end of the quiz.
Yeah, that's what you mean, right?
Yeah, if he was at the university that we both teach in, he would have gotten a -4. You know.
No, don't say that.
But no, he's a pretty smart kid from my old high school. Well, that kid anymore, obviously. Wayne also tuned in. Who else has been tuning in? Michael and John and Robert and Sandy and Stan and Tony and Michael, another Michael, and Jolinda and Robert from my high school, and Benjamin, and oh my God, Benjamin from my elementary school.
Wow, Benjamin.
And my friend Iris, and who else? And
Your
David
friend
and,
Isis?
and
Oh,
Reggie.
we didn't talk about the Bob Dylan film, the Lying film.
I thought we talked about
Did
that
we?
last
Okay,
week.
probably.
Yeah.
I don't remember, yeah.
But what we can talk about before I get to the rest of the show.
You're not
First,
cold, honey?
oh no, I need this. I
You
need the air this cold.
You're like, you know what, Jory? You're like a lemming.
How am I like a lemming?
You're like something that needs cool. I don't know.
Lemmings die. They go off a thing and they scream together to
Not a
die.
lemming. I mean, you're like
A polar bear or
yeah, like
the opposite of a manatee.
Yeah,
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what it is.
Cynthia is asking if I went to the high school in Hewlett, and the answer is, unless you are someone who remembers me from then and wants to kill me, yes, I did. I went to
Cute. You're very cute.
junior high school in Hewlett, Long Island, and Hewlett High School in Long Island. So Cynthia, is that how I know you, or how we, are you hooked up with this show? But yes, that is, I am an alum, an award. Oh my God, look at this. My high school yearbook. Joyce just brought this for me. Patches. Was this my year or a year when I was
What year are
already?
you in? There's a couple here.
I don't think.
Oh, this is NYU. Is this yours?
Hold
This
on.
one? You have 3 of them here. 80. When did you graduate high school?
Class of '81, ladies and gentlemen.
No, that's not that one.
Oh no, this one 80 then. So
I can't tell. This one here, baby.
how much extra we had to pay to have my name on that?
$1 million. Why did you buy them?
Our year. This was my high school yearbook in 1981. See, had it engraved again.
It's classy.
Let's see. Hold on.
Want me to find Lefkowitz?
I'm gonna be in there somewhere. I hope I'm in there somewhere. Color.
Maybe the custodial staff.
No, I don't. I gotta be careful because I don't. People's last names and whatever names are in here. But who cares? Where the hell am I? Am I in there?
That's not your.
Oh, here I am. Look at the hair, folks.
Sexy,
That's the hair I used to have.
Woo, you were so cute.
Wearing kind of a Hitler
You
stripe.
look like you're a baby, though. You look like you're 10.
Well, I was 16 years old here. So that with a little like Hispanic mustache, right? Not a bad picture, I think.
Oh.
But look at that. That's why you love me. I had that mop of hair.
You had hair
back
like
when you
like
met
a
me.
bear.
Yeah. So anywho, that was of course, Robert. That's yours. That's why you know me because we're not. It's like boy.
I told you he missed the quiz.
It's like, gee, I know David from high school. He's holding up a high school yearbook. I wonder if I'm in it with you. Yes. Do you want me to hold up your picture, Robert? Because you're probably in there. Let me know. I won't if you don't want me to, but I can because we have the book.
Yeah.
Just let me know. And what? Oh, hon, the one thing we forgot to talk about
What?
is you were feeling poorly
Yes.
yesterday. So what did I do out of the goodness and sweetness of my heart? Well, I just wanted to be home and work and crash, but no, you were like miserable and needed.
Sick.
You wanted soup. So I go out.
Oh no, you got explosive diarrhea.
Out of the goodness of my heart to go get some food for myself.
Tell them first that whenever you speak to a waiter, no one ever seems to understand what you're saying. It doesn't matter the cuisine type, and you never.
This is an issue I've had.
Waiter in the one waitress in the diner here, she thought that you were
a lot of people think I'm retarded. A lot of people just do. They might be right. Yeah, I need the book because Robert says it's okay to show his picture. So we're going to do that. And if you don't mind, if you can, I'll do it. Can you grab that other? Because this is what we wanted to talk about.
Oh, My Fortune, yes.
Yeah. But
This
here,
one?
you're going to be on, let's see. Who were the hot girls back then? Okay, here we go. Hold on.
It's relative.
I mean, it will show your last name if that's okay, Robert. But, oh, hey, handsome fellow.
Let's see. Wow. Let me see. Which one?
I'm going to hold it real close.
Wow. Is he a ginger?
No, that's just brown hair.
Wow, look at him.
Light brown.
He
Yeah.
looks like Nick Drake.
A little
Got that
bit,
English look going on with the plaid shirt.
Very nice picture. I think you used to wear glasses, so we weren't used to
Oh.
seeing you without them. But looking good, man.
Go with your bad self.
My high school yearbook. Wow. So, and thank you,
What are
Robert,
they called?
for tuning in and writing in. And what? Sorry?
Patches?
Patches. I don't. Not sure why they called it. Don't know. I guess they're patched together of our lives back in the day. Not sure why they called it that. Quite honestly, works for me. Okay. So I go. out of the goodness of my heart and the rumbling in my stomach, I was in Spanish club, yes.
No, you weren't in the picture.
No?
Bunch of ladies. Hebrew club.
I was not in
This is
Hebrew
the sad
club.
part. There's a Hebrew club and there's someone wearing an Adidas shirt, which means all day I dream of sex. I doubt.
Nobody knew that. It didn't even mean that back
did.
then.
Yes, it did.
The weird part is I was on math team and I was terrible at math. That's how desperate they were for people to be on math team.
You weren't in the photo.
And lost every.
Look at this guy. Most likely to be
Oh, that's Julian. I remember Julian.
attacked in prison.
He was he had a math brain. Robert Bob.
Oh, look at this science club. The guy's holding, the one has a kidney, one has a aorta, and the other one has a mitochondrial cell.
Oh, by the way, Robert says after the show's over, Robert, Google Nick Drake or do some YouTube of him, and you can hear some of the most lovely folk music you've ever heard in your life.
That's right.
So,
who said that, Robert?
yeah, because you said he looked like Nick Drake, and Joyce was complimenting you because Nick Drake was this tall drink of water, this English.
Because he was wearing a vest and a tie and everything. He was all done up, I thought he was a ginger.
It's a nice thing to look like, let me tell you. I mean, not look like now because Nick Drake's been dead for 30 years and he died of an overdose. But yeah, but other than that, he was looking good before he died. Now he's basically, skin or no skin. He's basically bones. So I'm getting you soup. At I go for a little lunch at our local Chinese place to get you some soup to bring back.
Mm-hmm.
A nice guy that I am, I bring back the two, and the waiter was very nice because he knew it was for you. Because I asked him if they have vegetarian egg drop soup. And he didn't know. He looked at me like I was from Mars, which most waiters do look at me like I'm from Mars.
I don't know why you have that relationship with
because he must have thought, he may have thought I was asking for vegan egg drop soup, which is completely
impossible.
it's not impossible. They use a fake egg or something. But vegetarian means it's done with vegetable soup and they put an egg in it. They do this. You've had this.
I make that at home all the time.
Okay. Well, anywho, so vegetarian egg drop soup. They don't have it. They have regular egg drop soup, and when you're sick, it's the one time that you will eat something that comes out of a chicken.
Ugh.
Right?
David.
Well, I have a certain part of the chicken.
Yes.
A nice guy that I am, I don't even take one of the fortune cookies for myself when I'm at the restaurant eating. I bring them both home so you can choose the one.
And you give me the death one.
Well, here's the deal. Usually, I am the king of bad fortunes, and I've talked about this on the air before. I get the most ridiculous, miserable fortune cookies you've ever heard in your life. Ones that make no sense in English. Yeah. The greatest, worst fortune cookie I ever got. Literally, I opened it up, and it read, "You will hurt your foot."
Didn't you say it looked like it was typed behind?
Yeah, I think I made one of the waiters mad. So they went by and typed out, "You will hurt your foot," and gave me that fortune cookie.
Wow.
And it made me paranoid for months on it because it never said when. It's not like you will hurt your foot tonight. It's like at some point in the future, you will hurt your foot. Magnificent. And I've gotten the most weird, incomprehensible fortunes ever. But yesterday, the tide was turned.
Yes.
I dare say.
I got it with me.
Because my fortune cookie at this restaurant said, and I'm not making this up, here we go, is a lovely thing. It has nothing to do with me, since I do a radio show every week. Modesty, like I would know from that, modesty is the art of enhancing your charm by pretending not to be aware of it. Wow. Which is a nice thing. It's like saying, you can be as, you show off by not showing off.
Yeah,
you kind
humble.
of make believe that you're humble.
Humility.
Which I kind of do. Actually, I kind of do that in real life. I know how great I am, but I try not to be.
When you scream, "Look at me, look at me, look at me," what is that?
Well, that's me being a retard.
Oh.
That's me saying, not showing that I'm really a very, very smart guy with college degrees. I'm going to go hug my wife, which is, talk amongst yourselves. Let's make that baby.
I'm cold.
Oh, you are cold. All right, you can lower the
No, it's okay.
AC. You're goosebumpy.
Yeah.
Look at that. Oh, my goodness.
I'm sick.
I'll warm you up later, baby. With a heating pad. So that was my fortune. You chose the other fortune.
Mine was a misfortune. You can ask people how they read it.
Okay, I mean, it is good advice, but just how dark do you have to be to get this fortune? Keep on charging the enemy so long as there is life. So I took it to mean that as long as the enemy is even still breathing, they could be lying in a crumpled heap, bleeding, missing limbs. keep on charging so long as there's one last breath in them. You saw it as keep on charging them as long as you're still alive.
Right,
as
like
long
keep
as
on trying.
you might be lying in the ditch.
Like, I thought there was like keep up the fight. Like don't give up the fight, right?
I think you're right. I think I
No,
misread it,
I
even though it's a
know.
little bit ambiguous.
It's very complicated for a fortune cookie.
But this idea of, basically, they are going to kill you.
Yes.
The point is, but up until the moment that they do, you have to keep. But I mean, it is a positive message overall. It means, as you just said, keep on trying to conquer the enemy, be it a report that you have to do,
Yeah.
be it a class that you have to teach, be it a play that you have to direct, be it an accountancy book that you have to pay, I mean, whatever it is, or fight the IRS, keep on fighting until that last moment, that last breath, and up until and beyond. It's not a terrible fortune to get, I think.
It's just really weird.
Yeah.
And they gave you explosive diarrhea too, right?
Well, I didn't have explosive diarrhea. I had some squonkies. Well, thanks for sharing this, because they gave me. I love this restaurant. It's a really good restaurant, and they never give me any problems. But they have a lunch special where you get 3 rolls, right? They do Chinese and sushi, and I was in a sushi mood, and you get like the 3 cheaper rolls for a certain amount of money. So I'm like, oh, let me do that today, instead of the nigiri sushi, which I like.
Yeah.
And I said, I want this one, I want this one, this one. And the waiter came back to me 2 times
Oh God.
to ask me, you want this and this? And I'm like, yes, I'm pointing to it on the menu.
David, that's never good.
I'm reading him the letter and the number.
That's never good.
I'm pointing on the menu to them. And then he's still, you want this? Yeah, what there? I'm like, yes. Yeah, I don't know what you want me to do.
Ask him why. Say, is there a problem?
And what he brought me at the end was, he brought me the 3 things, but they were inside out. They were in the rolled cone seaweed, which maybe it's because I'm 55 years old. I had trouble chewing. So I'm trying to bite into this thing like a sandwich, and it's just coming apart in my hands, and I'm tearing at the seaweed with my teeth. And meanwhile, all the cucumber, all the fish is spilling out onto my plate.
Oh God.
But the only one that wasn't delicious, well, they had mackerel skin.
See that? Why did you order that?
Because I've never had mackerels. I like to try different things. And it was basically, I thought I was chewing like the tail ends of shrimp.
Oh, okay.
Because the heads of shrimp are yummy and not crunchy. The tails of shrimp you don't eat. You discard them. And most of this mackerel skin mixed with the seaweed was like chewing on the tails of shrimp. And when it's pulling it out, I'm like able to eat it and swallow it. And the cucumber's falling, and I'm putting on the wasabi. They had other stuff. The yellowtail was yummy.
Good.
The inside out tuna was delish. But this particular one, I'm like, wow. And I know that's what gave me the oopty-oopties in my tum-tum. This is the one that had me throwing feces at the judge.
Really?
So anyway, that was our Chinese restaurant story. But remember, keep on charging at the enemy so long as there is life. And Robert says, quote, the best fortune cookie ever would be, that wasn't chicken.
Oh God. Oh my God.
Yeah, that would be good. Thanks, Robert. Thanks for sharing
disgusting. They had a thing on my newsfeed that there's some markets where you can buy a dog and some other animal, like as meat.
that. Oh.
Yeah.
In America?
I don't know where it was. I didn't look at it because it upset me.
Yeah, I know. Because, I mean, would you, if I were starving, I would eat anything.
I wouldn't.
But if you had to eat a dog,
No.
what kind of dog would you eat? Would you have a preference?
I
Would it be like, Dalmatian?
I wouldn't do it.
Really? You wouldn't sink your teeth into a little Shiba Inu?
No.
I don't know. I'm just yapping here. It's 11:05 in the morning, Eastern time, here in the Daverhood. We're here from 9 until, well, supposedly 11, but it's really closer to noon. And so in Colorado, it's 9. We would just be starting now if we were back in Colorado. But it's 11:05 Eastern.
Oh my God.
We're doing the Dave's Gone By Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the stream with me, Dave Lefkowitz. We're here every Saturday. I do. Well, acquaintances. Acquaintances from high school, from college, from elementary school, and friends from Colorado and from New York, and family watching too. It's great when you all tune in every Saturday morning. This is our 701st episode of the program. We're calling it the 701 Club. No religious affiliation whatsoever. As a matter of fact, Rabbi Saul is taking the week off. So
Where is he, in Florida?
it's the solstice. So he's trying to stand himself on end because he can only do that twice a year. Stand on his head when the planet is tilted exactly right. Rabbi Saul can stand on his yarmulke.
Wow.
And I don't mean upside down. I mean, he's just sort of standing on it with his feet. But
He does
it's,
have a lot of proprioception.
Yeah. Nobody can hear you from all the way over there, but you're having a rest, which is fine because we have other stuff to do in this episode of the show. We've got our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, and we have our story time, of course, with the delightful feminist baby finds her voice. But before all that, let's get to one of my favorite. Notice I didn't say my favorite because I have all different favorites. My favorite almost segment of the show, Inside Broadway, which is where we talk about the theater, which I do love so very, very much. Inside Broadway, a look at theater in New York, Colorado, and beyond, brought to you by TotalTheater.com and Performing Arts Insider, the Bible of Broadway. Wow, I grabbed our old theme for that. But yes, Inside Broadway we go for news of the reality. So I'll hit them pretty quick, but I just love sharing the excitement of what goes on Broadway, the shows that are going to be happening, or in this particular case, 2 weeks after the Tony Awards, shows that are no longer going to be happening. So we start, well, I'm so glad Joyce is over there having a lie down because she's sick and not feeling well. This is going to make her worse.
I'm going to throw something at you.
There's Broadway news, ladies and gentlemen. Joyce has this phobic ab-reaction to anything involving Hamilton or Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Oh, David, call 911.
I don't know why. We haven't seen the show. I can't get in to see the
My
show.
name is Hamilton. I'm a white rapper. I'm a Latinx. I'm a rapper.
That's good. That's good, babe. Anyway, Lin-Manuel Miranda, he hasn't been in Hamilton for a couple of years.
Do
He
not
wrote the
mention-
show.
That is the Voldemort. Do not mention his name.
Well, LMM, and his collaborator, Thomas Kail, they're coming back to Broadway with a show they were working on even before Hamilton
Oh,
and
no.
In the Heights. They're bringing their collaboration, Freestyle Love Supreme, to Broadway's Booth Theater from early October to January 5th. It's kind of improv raps to various beats, and they're bringing in rotating guests to the show as well. So it's a pretty, Broadway has gotten a bit more adventurous, especially over the past season, with shows like that revamped King Lear and What the Constitution Means to Me, and a couple of other shows that are pretty risk-taking and somewhat experimental. Gary, which is a very downtown-y sort of a show. Well, this show is getting up there, doing sort of improv stuff. Also sounds a bit like what Russell Simmons was doing several years back with, what was that hip-hop show, where it was a poetry slam thing. Something slam on Broadway. Anyway, this is LMM's version with Thomas Kail. It's going to be reaching the Booth Theater on Broadway in early
I hope
fall.
that, you know what happens with James Wilkes Booth?
Don't even. That's horrible. No. Okay. And I'm glad they couldn't hear you for that one. By the way, speaking of someone who has a way with words, or at least pronouncing them in the classical British way, the great Ian McKellen. He's going to be doing a one-night-only show, a solo show. He's been on Broadway before in solos, doing Shakespeare and stuff. The name of this new one is called Ian McKellen on Stage with Tolkien, Shakespeare, Others, and You. So it's basically him doing passages from various writers like Shakespeare and J.R.R. Tolkien. Sean Mathias is the director, and it's happening, as I said, one night only, November 5th, Tuesday night at the Hudson Theater, and he's doing it as a benefit. He's been touring with this because he's made more money than God, thanks to the Harry Potter films and his whole other career. So McKellen has been doing these stops and these tours to raise money for an organization called Only Make Believe, which performs shows for children in hospitals and special ed children and children at risk. McKellen, of course, won a Tony for Amadeus, and he was Tony nominated for that acting Shakespeare show that he did many years ago. So yay for Ian McKellen. You can go see him do his thing on Broadway on November 5th. Well, I mentioned that this is a tough time for some shows on Broadway, because 2 weeks ago, the most exciting night for Broadway, right? The Tony Awards, June 9th, Hadestown won all 8 different Tonys, and what else? You had The Ferryman doing very well, and various actors winning awards. But the Tonys is not great for every show, because if you weren't nominated in some of the categories that you wanted to be, or nominated at all, or if you don't win anything or anything major, and you've been scraping along and struggling and hoping for that one little piece that you can promote to put you over the top, and it doesn't happen, you're in trouble. Well, several shows have become in trouble post-Tonys, now that we're 2 weeks beyond. One of them was Gary, that sequel to Titus Andronicus that closed last week. And now we have a couple of other shows that have announced that they will be leaving Broadway soon. One of them is getting impeached tomorrow, June 23rd. So these are your last chances to catch Hillary and Clinton on Broadway, featuring John Lithgow, Laurie Metcalf, Zach Orth, and Peter Francis James. The play, which is a comedy drama, basically looks at Hillary Clinton's campaign, not to be president, but back when she wanted the Democratic primary nomination, and instead the Democratic Party went with Barack Obama. Well, it worked out really, really well for him. But for her, I mean, this was going to be her chance a decade and a half ago. And this is picturing her in a hotel room about to launch her campaign. Her husband, a fellow named Bill Clinton, shows up. So she's dealing with him and their marital issues. She's also dealing with the person running her campaign and a visit from the soon-to-be President Barack Obama, played by Peter Francis James. I saw the show. I forgot it basically as soon as I watched it. It was perfectly entertaining while I was seeing it, but it didn't have any kind of profound revelations about anything. And of course, it was great to see John Lithgow and Laurie Metcalf on stage, but it was kind of evanescent. If you want to decide for yourself, you have just 3 more performances to catch: Hillary and Clinton on Broadway at the John Golden Theater. When it closes tomorrow, it will have played 37 previews and 77 regular performances. The show is by Lucas Nath, whose A Doll's House Part 2 did a lot better the year before, and I think won the Tony for Best Play. This show was grossing less than $300,000 a week, which is only about a third of its potential, which is why they're closing it about a month early. Anyway, if you want to find out that kind of detailed information about every show on, off, or off Broadway, you're going to want to get yourself a copy of Performing Arts Insider, the Bible of Broadway. Since 1944, 75 and a half years ago, this magazine, this journal, was founded to give people an absolute inside look into all the shows playing in New York. And it still does every single month, or sometimes twice a month. On page 2, look at all you get: a guide to the Broadway season. All the shows going to be opening this coming season, shows still running from last season, as well as, look at this. This is a color map of the Broadway district. That's just on one page. And then a guide to Broadway theaters and their tenants. Every single theater on Broadway. How many seats does it have? Where's it located? And what show is playing in it and for how long? Again, all on one page. And then a guide to all the press agents. These are the folks who handle the Broadway shows and let the critics in and do the promotions for the shows. And then our day-by-day calendar listing of every single show on Broadway. When it starts previews, opens, and closes, either currently running or in the months ahead. On the next page, and you won't find this anywhere else, a look at every show off and off Broadway, the same thing. You don't get this anywhere. Look at that. So today's June 22nd. let's see what we have for June 22nd. Ending today, opening today is an adaptation of Sleeping Beauty, and that is playing at the ART Theater off Broadway. Ending today, a musical called Midnight Street on Theater Row, and something called Techno Dramatists Performance at the Theater Lab off Broadway. That is just today, day by day, a calendar listing. Then we get to a guide to awards and special events. And finally, our June issue, we'll write a special section of all the awards. And then we move towards Broadway. Every show covered in depth, page after page, and then another section of all the off-Broadway shows and off-Broadway shows covered in depth. In other words, not only people listed, but how do you contact them? What is the synopsis of the show? How long is it running? What theater is it in? Who owns that theater? The designers, the technical people, the stage managers, the production stage manager, the press agent, the authors, the lyricists, the choreographers, all the actors. Who are they? How do you contact them? Every single page of Performing Arts Insider, the Bible of Broadway. Now, this is a fairly expensive journal, but the people who subscribe renew year after year because they know there's no other place that they can get all this info. Even on the interwebs, you can open a dozen windows. You're not going to find all this information, and certainly won't find it as cleanly, as succinctly as you will find in the pages of Performing Arts Insider. How do you get a copy? You go to performingartsinsider.com, and you can either send away for a single issue or subscribe for the full season of 21 issues per year, or the monthly edition, 12 issues per year. It's all there at performingartsinsider.com. It is and remains, after 75 years, the Bible of Broadway. Well, we move further into Broadway on our Inside Broadway segment today on this June 22nd. A lot of news coming out of Broadway this week, and not all of it bad. They were trying and planning and thinking of bringing this off-Broadway show to Broadway. Couldn't do it this season, but they're going to figure out, they figure out a way. Well, I'm sorry, when I say this season, I mean the season just ended for the Tony Awards, because off-Broadway at the Public Theater was a musical based on the songs of Bob Dylan. It was called Girl from the North Country, and it told the story of people in a boarding house during the Depression and all their little fights and squabbles and issues that they have going on, and just trying to hard scrabble get by during that difficult time. And into that, they interspersed Bob Dylan songs from various times of Dylan's career, not just from like that Times They Are A-Changin' period. Well, the critics responded very favorably to the Times They Are A-Changing. Audiences liked it too. I'm a bit on the fence, although it was miles better than a musical called The Times They Are A-Changing that was on Broadway like 15 years ago that Twyla Tharp did, more of a dance performance, arty sort of Dylan show. Anyway, they wanted to bring it. It was a big enough hit with enough audience interest and critical response that it would have made sense to bring it to Broadway, but they just couldn't find a theater for it in time. They found it. They're going to bring Girl from the North Country to Broadway. The Belasco Theater is going to open in March of 2020. Connor McPherson, the playwright, has written the book for the show. Songs in the show include You Ain't Going Nowhere, I Want You, Sweetheart Like You, and License to Kill, and a dozen or so more, done in a folky kind of jamboree style. It's a very, very effectively staged mood piece, I will say that. So if you love Bob Dylan and you like the theater, you're probably going to want to see Girl from the North Country opening in March on Broadway at the Belasco Theater. Well, speaking of something that's on Broadway only for a little time, this is your weekend to catch singer-songwriter Regina Spektor. You know, I've been telling you every week, it seems, about these thing they have at the Lunkfontein Theater, where artists come in for a couple of days, for maybe a week, to do a show. People as wide-ranging as Morrissey and Yanni and Chris Angel, the Mind Freak guy, and Mel Brooks, and people like that, just coming for a couple of days, selling out the house, hopefully, if they're lucky, and making a pile and then moving on. Well, Regina Spektor is the latest to do that. Her stint started on Thursday and ends on, I think it's Wednesday. She's playing until June 26th, she told AM New York, the newspaper, quote, "It's fun to explore what lighting techniques are very much theater rather than a concert approach. Things with scrims and special kinds of screens and projections." So she's particularly trying to make it more than just a typical concert experience and trying to make it more theatrical and Broadway. Regina Spektor on Broadway at the L'Enfant Theater for a couple more days. Hey, want to say that there's a show just announced this past week. It's going to be called Birthday Candles, and it will be opening on Broadway in April. It's a roundabout theater production opening at their American Airlines Theater on West 42nd Street. Viviane Benesh, a longtime actress and director, is going to be directing it. The Will and Grace star Deborah Messing is returning to Broadway. This is a show by Noah Hadel. He wrote a popular off-Broadway show called Mr. Marmalade. This show, called Birthday Candles, tells of a teenager on her birthday, but then she ages several generations during the show. It's called Birthday Candles at the American Airlines Theater, and it's going to be opening in April of next year, of 2020, part of this Broadway season, with Deborah Messing. Her last Broadway show was Outside Mullingar, the John Patrick Shanley show. Okay, and even more Broadway news. I told you, this coming at you. All these Broadway shows going to be happening. A new play by Tracy Letts. Now, he's that brilliant playwright, and even, I would say, almost more brilliant actor. If you've seen him right now in All My Sons, he's wonderful. And he was really great in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf a couple of years ago, too. But he made his name, he made his bones as a playwright, writing shows like Killer Joe and the Pulitzer-winning August Osage County. Well, it turns out Tracy Letts is going to have two different plays coming to Broadway this season. One of them is Linda Vista, and the other was just announced this past week, The Minutes. It's been picked up. Well, what happened was Scott Rudin was going to produce it a season ago. That project fell through. It's been picked up by producer and agent Jeffrey Richards and Steve Traxler. They're going to bring it to a Broadway venue in February. So we will see two Let's Plays, The Minutes and also Linda Vista. By the way, The Minutes, which is a Pulitzer finalist play, so someone should pick it up and bring it to Broadway. It's all about backstabbing in a small town at one of their town meetings, and it's a dark comedy. So I'm looking forward to that. The Minutes by Tracy Letts on Broadway. Well, I've been promising the bad news that not just Hillary and Clinton is closing, but two different shows are going to be closing on August 11th. And it's kind of interesting because they're both financially going to be flops. They'll both have lost money. They're both pop. Well, no, one is more of a traditional musical, but they're both musicals. And they're both very specifically quite youth-oriented and inclusive. One of them is called The Prom. Yeah, they tried. They tried with this one. The Prom got skunked at the Tonys. They had 7 Tony nominations, including for Best Musical and Best Actress and Best Level and Best Supporting Actor, I think, in Brooks as Schmanskis. They didn't win. So it's going to end on August 11th after 23 previews and 310 regular performances. The show tried out at the Alliance Theater in Atlanta. It opened on November 15th at the Longacre Theater. Chad Begwilin and Matthew Sklar co-wrote the show, and it's all about these struggling, well, they're not really struggling actors. They're fairly well-known Broadway actors, although their stardom doesn't really reach beyond the mile square of 42nd Street. They've just been in a terrible flop, and they realize if they want to keep famous and they want to boost to their careers, the best way to do that is to do something charitable and or help some kind of organization. Get their names in the papers as doing humanitarian, be on the forefront kind of activities. So they see in the paper this young girl in high school who is being denied access to her prom because she is lesbian and out and wants to bring her girlfriend to the prom. And the school can't have this, and so they ban it, and they pick this as their cause to go and fight for. So they come to the small town to help this girl, and they cause more problems by doing that than the town really even had. So it's a very fun, comical way of looking at inclusion, LGBTQ stuff. I thought it was okay. I wished it were funnier. I wish it were shorter. I wish the acting was less hammy. I couldn't really fully recommend The Prom, even though it's not a bad show. Well, I guess a lot of people sort of felt like me, because even though the show got really good reviews when it opened, The Prom just couldn't quite find an audience, and it will be closing on August 11th on Broadway at the Longacre Theater. So, what else do I want to? Oh, yes. It can't be at the Longacre. I was wrong. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's at the Longacre, and the individual things are at the Lonfontaine. Oh, those L's, they throw me, because I did that Minuteman pressing of the L's. Another show, another musical, more of a pop rock musical by a very talented guy named Joe Iconis, is also throwing in the towel. It's Be More Chill, which opened on March 10th and will end August 11th after 30 previews and 177 performances, regular performances, at the Lyceum Theater. When I say that, by the way, for those of you who are not that conversant in theater language, previews is that time when they're still setting the show, fixing it, getting it ready for, it's in front of live audiences, but it hasn't officially opened yet. They haven't invited the critics. Critics start coming in the last week of previews, and then there's opening night, and after that it's considered the regular performances. So Be More Chill had 30 previews and 177 regular performances. The book is by Joe Trach. I may be mispronouncing that. It's all about this geeky high school nerd who takes a pill that makes him a winner, but the pill has some heavy-duty side effects of being that popular and may have a way of never going back to who you were after you took it. The show has been making about $400,000 every week, grossing about $400K, only about half of potential. And with all the new shows coming in and set for the fall, and summer tends to not be the best time for Broadway, they're going to be calling it quits. It got one Tony nomination. It did not win. It did get a little bit of media notice, because even though they didn't do a song from Be More Chill on the Tony Awards broadcast, James Corden did a parody number of that show's most famous song, Michael in the Bathroom. The only problem is that they did this funny number of James Corden and his previous hosts, Sarah Bareilles and Josh Groban, and then even Neil Patrick Harris, all showed up in this number. It was very cute, very funny. They never credited Be More Chill as the place where this song came from. And of course, James Corden, nice guy that he is, tweeted a day later saying, "I'm sorry, we should have given credit to Joe Iconis and Be More Chill, the Tony nominee, and George Salazar, who sings the song in the show." People thought, hey, that would give Be More Chill a boost, being talked about. All this free ink, free press, didn't help enough. It's going to be closing on August 11th. So, again, Be More Chill, I didn't mind being there. I liked parts of it quite a bit. I thought the lyric writing was pretty sharp. Some of the melodies are catchy. It goes on way too long, and it's a bit much of a muchness. There's a lot going on. It's really geared for younger audiences and not us 55-year-olds who are sitting there going, whoa, oh, just let me get into this instead of coming at me every second. But you could do worse than seeing Be More Chill or even The Prom. You have a couple more weeks to see both of them. Now, I played this song probably 3 times already on Dave's Gone By. I can play it one more time, and I may even again just on the week that it closes. But this is from the cast album, not the Broadway cast album. This was sort of, they did the show regionally in New Jersey a few years back. And in fact, by recording this album, kept the show alive, gained the show some groundswell of support, and it became a thing. And got producers to think, hey, if we move it to Broadway, there will be a young audience for it. And there is, just not a big enough one that can pay $150 for a Broadway theater ticket. So it goes. But we can hear this incredibly catchy number from Be More Chill one more time. Let's take it from, let's see, I'm going to start from the middle of the song. Something a little different.
I've been activating your pheromones. Keep it up.
Say there's this
person that you never knew that well. She is totally into you. You thought that you had him pegged, but now you can tell he's gone from the guy that you'd never be into a guy that you kind of be into, from a guy that I'd never be into a guy that I kind of be into. Is he fit?
Even, I will say, even with some of the great music in Hagestown, that has got to be the catchiest song of the whole Broadway season for me. A guy that I'd kind of be into from Be More Chill, which has 3 more weeks to play on Broadway. And that is Inside Broadway here on Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz. It's 11:30, Gewalt, in the morning, Eastern Time. This is our 701st episode of the program. We're here every Saturday from 9 until... I should just go back to calling it 9 to noon and end early when I don't have enough stuff. Because saying that it runs from 9 to 11 is just not honest anymore. So yeah, 9 to about noon Eastern. It's June 22nd, 2019, and we still have more to do with this episode of the show. Aren't you thrilled? As a matter of fact, let's get to it. Let's have someone else do some of the heavy lifting for a bit, so I don't have to. I can make hay on somebody else's work in StoryTime.
Tell me a story, tell me a story, tell me a story, remember what you said. You promised me, you said you would, you gotta give in so I'll be good. Tell me a story, then I'll go to bed.
Lum-de-doo-de, lum-de-doo, lum-de-dee-dee. Yes, StoryTime it is. So I mentioned earlier in the show that this segment began about 2 years ago now, when we brought our Subaru in to the local service station to have its brakes worked on. And in the pile of books and magazines that they had for people waiting there with children, there was a book called A Cow for Hansel that I could not resist. There was this whole story about this little pre-Hitler German kid going through all sorts of peregrinations on his family farm, broke family farm, of trying to buy a cow. Yeah, and then had so much fun reading that we've read a bunch of other books since then of all different stripes. But today, oh boy, talk about fun. Bring the little kitties in the room, because we have Feminist Baby. Yes, my friends, Feminist Baby finds her voice here on Dave's Gone By. And I know they're making children's books and even infant books cooler for parents so that they get a chuckle like, oh, you're feminist. Okay, so let's see how Feminist Baby goes. Because only a couple of weeks ago, what did we do? We did, it was Quantum Mechanics for Infants. That's another book I found at the library. I'm kidding you not about this stuff. So let's try Feminist Baby. Here's, we'll start from the very beginning. It's by Lauren Brantz. Feminist Baby is learning to talk. That's the problem with books like this, though, is I can't just read it. I have to show you the visuals. So maybe I'll sit over here when I do it like this. See, and there's toys. Oh, now granted, she's a girl. She does have a pink bow, and she has on a pink toy box with a little red ball. So that's still kind of girly girl. That's still saying women, girls, have a different kind, and even she's blushing with the little pink rosy cheeks. So, hey, is that still sort of second wave feminism or third wave? Let's see. See, she says what she thinks, and it totally rocks. Yeah, there she goes. Still in pink, still with a little ribbon, but okay, it's kind of got that girl riot baby power. What else does Feminist Baby do? Oh, this is nice. Feminist Baby says, let's all share. Okay. Now, you know, and one of the problems that feminism has had is it's always been linked with lesbianism. Not that there's anything wrong at all with lesbianism, but you had to equate feminism with it when it wasn't. It was a separate thing. It was just about women. And yet, so why is that definitely going to grow into a lesbian if that isn't a boy already? Don't know. But something about this says long distance trucker to me. And her What's with the eyes? What's going on there? Oh, I guess she's wearing special heels. So that's still sort of girly girl. Let's all share. Yeah. She and her friends have lots of flair. And my wife saw this book and she's saying there's nothing feminist about this at all. This is not feminism. This is just girls playing dress up. And I actually own this outfit and was wearing it last week, which is why they sent me home from the library. But yeah, she and her friends have lots of flair. And she's got a freaking tiara. I mean, that's beauty pageant stuff. Let's see if the book kind of clears things up and moves on a little bit. Feminist babies stand up tall, equal rights and toys for all. All right, so this is a bit more like, okay, we're here, she's queer, get used to it. And is why doesn't, I couldn't see them. The black baby didn't seem to have nipples, but she does. So they are all equal there. They're standing up tall, they're helping each other. I like that. What are they standing up for? Feminist baby is not afraid to speak. She yells. Oh, that's a good message. That's a real good message right there. Meanwhile, it looks like she's being spanked for her views. Look at the pinkness of her butt there. And away she streaks. Yeah, because this says feminism to me of the fifth wave. I guess the waves of the water in the bathtub. No bath! Yeah. What wonderful message this book is conveying. Gotta tell you. Feminist baby says, ba for her bottle. That's okay. She's already talking. That's kind of nice. And that's what any baby says for his bottle before it can pronounce bottle. Right? I mean, what baby doesn't say ba? Even the most traditionalist, Republican, anti-abortion woman is still going to, when she's half a year old, is going to say ba for bottle. So I don't get that. Let's see. She and the gang live full throttle. That's kind of cool. Okay, now this is neat. That is more of a traditional boys sort of activity. Kind of neat that the girls are doing it and that she's wearing a blue headband instead of a pink one. Okay, all right, I'm down with that. And now let's see. Feminist baby stops and listens, especially when her friends audition. No, this is not feminism. This is girls at a tea party with frou-frou and listening to a bear. Or maybe it might have been a raccoon, but no, it's a bear there in the field with daisies and a pearl necklace, which is very different from the pearl necklace that she'll be getting in a few years from her boyfriend, but don't go there. Oh. Feminist babies use their words. Very cool. Okay, I'm so down with this. Being creative, although she is using a red marker, and she is drawing in pink, and this is in red splotch, but at least there's blue as well, which is fine. Although why? Okay, that's mess. What is she farting blue? I mean, it's cool. Feminist babies would fart, but why is that? Someone should send her to a proctologist, I think. And now we would come to the final fun part of the book. This is neat. Okay, down with this. Feminist babies will be heard. That's all right. Justice, equality, love. There's our trucker baby, or well, she should probably switch for that banner right there, the rainbow. But feminist babies will be heard. To my love, Jane. So this is written by Lauren Branks. I don't know if Jane is, well, we'll just assume. Copyright 2018, brand new book by Lauren Branks. All rights reserved, published by Disney. So this is actually a Disney book, an imprint of Disney books, blah, blah, blah. What else can I tell you? Lauren Branks is, I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses, but I want to give you the illustrator here. Oh, she wrote and illustrated the book. And let's face it, illustrations are freaking adorable. They really, really are. Anything else I need to tell you about this? No, I guess not. Praise for Feminist Baby. That this book is fun and fierce, says Debbie Levy, author of I Dissent, Ruth Bader Ginsburg Makes Her Mark. Okay, yeah, this is fierce. well, that is fierce, actually. That's pretty fierce, but I don't know how fierce this is. Feminist baby is for all of us, says Roxanne Gay. I actually teach one of her pieces in my English class. New York Times best-selling author of Bad Feminist. Well, now we know. Bad Feminist. But anyway, that is Feminist Baby. And there is a series of these kinds of books. Lauren Bratz's Feminist Baby as part of Storytime on the Dave's Gone By Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the stream with me, Dave Lefkowitz. By the way, if you want to find out more about me, I should mention this more. I have a website of my own. Of course, I've got davesgoneby.com. That is the place where you can hear all the older episodes of Dave's Gone By and watch visually the last year and a half of them if you don't want to go on Facebook. Or if you have friends who don't like Facebook, who don't want to join, they're worried about their privacy, just go to my website, davesgoneby.com. All the material is there as well, and photos and the history of the show too. But I've got another website, davelefkowitz.org. Dave Lefkowitz, Lefkowitz.org. So if you're ever feeling that you want to know a little bit more about me and read my work, because I've written plays, and I've written essays, and I've written comic essays, and I've written screenplays, and I've written tons of interviews with theater people and celebrities, and it's not all there, but month by month, week by week, I've been compiling and saving a lot of that stuff and putting it all in one place on the interwebs. So if you feel like reading one of my plays, short or long, if you want to read some of the interviews I've done with celebrities, Dave Lefkowitz, is it Dave Lefkowitz or David Lefkowitz? Let me check that one. It's davelefkowitz.org. And it'll bring you right to places where you can click and read my stuff. And I love that. I mean, you might laugh or not, but I had my play up there. And a couple of years ago, I got an email out of the blue from someone in India saying, hey, we like your one-act play, Blind Date. Can we stage it? And I was like, yeah, pay me $1. It's yours. And they did. And they put it on in Chennai, India. And I actually have a videotape of it. It's pretty fantastic. So, hell, I'm always hoping that any angle to get my work out there. Because at my age, that's what it's about. I'm not going to be a big Broadway star. I'm not going to conquer the world. I'm not going to be president, right? But if my words are out there being read and digested by people, be it from this radio show, be it from the things I've written that have been published hard copy or online, that's something. That's the legacy. Anyway, the legacy of this radio program, which has been on since October of 2002, is bringing comedy and weirdness and eclecticism to you guys every Saturday morning. We have just a teeny bit more of that to go, because we have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned coming up. But before that, we're talking about celebrities that I've talked to. Those are the print interviews that I've done with people. But obviously, since we've been doing this show, I've interviewed, and Rabbi Saul has interviewed hundreds of guests, some better known than others, on the show. All those interviews are at the website, davesgoneby.com. Plus, we think of them as friends of the Daverhood. They've been on the program. They were kind enough to give us of their time. So we like to follow up with them, because maybe someone was in a Broadway show when we talked to them. A couple of years have passed. What are they doing now? What other show are they doing? Have they released a record album? Do they have a digital musical download? Have they written a book? What are they doing? Cabaret? What are the friends of the Daverhood up to? And that's what we ask in this segment, Friends of the Daverhood. So, let me know about some friends of the Daverhood. For example, Loudon Wainwright III is with Suzy Roach and Lucy Wainwright Roach. They're all family. I can't even, the family tree of the Roaches and the Wainwrights is so beyond me at this point, but they're connected somehow. Loudon Wainwright III is at Tarrytown Music Hall. That is tonight. Also, tonight and tomorrow, Neil Berg is the co-owner of Rockland Bergen Music Festival in Tappan, New York. He started this festival, and guess who's going to be there? John Prine, Steve Earle, and Willie Nile. That's happening this weekend up in Tappan, New York. So congrats to Neil Berg for founding that. A Bronx Tale, not the musical, but the solo show that this was based on with Chaz Palminteri, who wrote it and stars in it. That is playing at the Paramount Theater in Huntington, New York. That is happening tomorrow, A Bronx Tale. And I saw it on Broadway. It's a marvelous show. Go see it. Neil Sedaka, the legendary singer-songwriter Neil Sedaka, tomorrow he is at Westbury's NYCB Theater. Go see him. On Monday, Spiff Wygand. He was in a band that we had on this program years ago called the Randy Bandits. Well, Spiff Wygand and the Tony-winning actress Alice Ripley, also a friend of the Daverhood, they are both in a reading of a play called The Alchemist at the Lucille Lortel Theater. It's a Red Bull Theater production. That is on Christopher Street, happening Monday night. Also on Monday, recent Tony winner, our great friend Andre DeShields. He will be in a reading of the Terrence McNally play Some Men, being done by Rattlestick Theater in New York. And then on June 25th through the end of the week, through the 29th, our musical friend Ann Hampton Calloway is going to be at Feinstein's 54 Below in Manhattan. On Thursday, oh my gosh, Gilbert Gottfried is doing a benefit for the Teaneck, New Jersey Black Box Performing Arts Center. If you have never seen Gilbert Gottfried in person and doing his stand-up stuff, you see him on TV, he's hysterical, but the whole force of that man in person made me laugh harder in some ways than I've ever laughed before. Gilbert Gottfried at the Teaneck Black Box Performing Arts Center on Thursday. Also on Thursday, oh my God, the ubiquitous Andre DeShields is hosting the League of Professional Women's Leadership Award, which will feature another friend of ours, LaShawns, that is taking place at Sardi's on West 44th Street, sorry. On Friday, Julie Holston is co-producing a reading of a comedy by David Zelnick. It's called The Fucking Wright Brothers at the Peter J. Sharp Theater in Midtown Manhattan. On Friday, Jill Subule, the brilliant singer-songwriter performer, Jill Subule is going to be at Joe's Pub. I think I'm going to go to that. That is at 425 Lafayette Street, connected to the Public Theater. Jill Subule on Friday, or Hampton Calloway still going to be at 54 Below that night as well. Now through early July, Patty Maloney of the Chieftains. He was our guest on a St. Patrick's Day a couple of years ago. He has composed music for his daughter's solo play, Yes, Reflections of Molly Bloom, that is at the Irish Repertory Theater on West 22nd Street. Ghostlight Records has just released the cast recording for The Man in the Ceiling, which has a score by Andrew Lippa, but a book by our friend Jules Pfeiffer. Now through Sunday, David Mandelbaum, our 2017 guest, directs Amy Coleman, our 2005 guest, in a play called Crazy Meshuggah Hurricane that's for New Yiddish Repertory at the Playroom Theater right in Midtown Manhattan. Also, we just mentioned LaShawns. She is off-Broadway in the Atlantic Theater musical The Secret Life of Bees, which got some really, really good reviews and word of mouth. Secret Life of Bees at the Atlantic with LaShawns. David Cale is soon to open his solo show, We're Only Alive for a Short Amount of Time, at the Public Theater. That is running through mid-July. And then we get to the Broadway shows. Hadestown with Andre DeShields at the Walter Kerr Theater. Beautiful, the Carole King musical, features a book by Douglas McGrath. Come From Away is by our friends Irene Senkoff and David Hine. Tootsie at the Marquis Theater has a score by David Yazbek and also features Julie Holston in the cast. To Kill a Mockingbird features Dakin Matthews playing Judge Heck Tate. What else? Hamilton. Oh, good, my wife's asleep, so she doesn't hear the word Hamilton. But it features Daniel Breaker playing Aaron Burr. That's at the Richard Rogers Theater. Off-Broadway, Life Sucks features the ubiquitous Austin Pendleton. I'm not going to ring the bell, but Austin Pendleton alert. He's in Life Sucks at the Acorn Theater on Theater Row. And then Jim Caruso's cast party every Monday night at Birdland. StageBuddy.com is founded and run by our friend Evan Seplow. Dr. Demento still doing new Dr. Demento shows as well as archiving the old ones at drdemento.com. Leslie Hoban Blake and Charlie Gross co-host Two on the Aisle, which you can watch on mnn.org. That is also where you can see Eva Heinemann's TV show, High Drama. And also, by the way, Charlie and Leslie post their show, Two on the Aisle, on YouTube as well. And finally, of course, a shout out to our friend Bob Cudmore, doing podcasts of upstate New York history at bobcudmore.com, and to Mary Shen Barnage, whose theater reviews may be read at Windy City Times and also totaltheater.com. And those, my friends, are the friends of the Daverhood. And we have just one more item to do for you on this Saturday's edition of Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz. We've been cultural. We talked about the theater, right? And we've been kind of, we've gone all over the place. We've been political with Feminist Baby, right? And what else did we do? We did historical, because we did our Today Yesterday quiz of things that happened in history on June 22nd. Let's keep it highbrow and cultural with a poem, our Colorado Limerick of the Damned.
A limerick is a comic verse of 5 lines, in which lines 1, 2, and 5 end with words that rhyme. And likewise, verses 3 and 4 also end with words that rhyme. So this is a limerick. Rocky Mountain, Colorado.
Yes, indeed, our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. I've been doing these for a few months now. Every week I read one poem created to honor a town or city or municipality, whatever the hell that is, in Colorado, where Joyce and I have been living for the past several years. Just one or two came to me, and then they just kept coming and coming. We're already at the letter K, so it's time for us to get to Kersey, Colorado. Today's poem is about Kersey. It's a small town in Weld County, which is the county where my wife and I live. It started as a trading post by a white man and his 2 Native American wives. How did that work out? Back in the 1830s, it became, and still remains now, it's an agricultural community of about 1,500 people. And by the way, Webster's dictionary says that a kersey is a coarse woolen cloth for mostly making uniforms and coats, probably deriving from a place called Kersey in the United Kingdom. Urban Dictionary has another meaning for Kersey. It's a likable guy who adapts to any environment, but you wouldn't want to get on his wrong side. So, in honor, loosening my jaw up a little bit. There we go. Kersey, Colorado, for our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. Are you ready? I think you are. A serial killer from Kersey, whose victims begged vainly for mercy, said, "Yes, you will suffer, but it could be rougher. At least you don't live in New Jersey." And that is our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, ladies and gentlemen, for this Saturday, June 22nd, 2019, which caps this episode of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the stream. With me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling and adorable wife, Joyce, and of course, all of you tuning in, watching, and contributing, and doing the hearts and the thumbs up and the messages. I love it. If you want to get in touch with me, though, when the show is no longer on, you can drop me an email, davesgoneby@aol.com, davesgoneby@aol.com, or just leave me a message right here on our Facebook page, which is Dave's Gone By. Remember to tell your friends, your loved ones, your enemies, your bitter rivals that you need to like us and follow us on Facebook. Become part of Facebook, and you can hear and watch this show every Saturday from 9 until about noon. And that's the way we get more people. That's the way we get the word out. And of course, you can watch the archives at davesgoneby.com. So it just remains for me, my darling wife woke up, I think, when I was playing the music there. So anything we need to add to conclude this wonderful episode of the show.
No more Hamilton.
Joyce said, no more Hamilton. Just no more. And she's back in bed with her head covered up and suffering in silence. Alas. Well, first of all, I gotta thank her, as always, for, she's waving. Hey, honey. Thank her for being part of the program, for spending the first hour or so with us in the Daverhood, and thank her for the joy and love that she brings to me every day of my life. It was great to spend her birthday with her. Went out to, I didn't even have time to talk about it, but bringing her to an Indian restaurant for her birthday in New York, and our friend Aditi and her mom was there, and we had a lovely time. No time, I got no throat left. We got no time left. It's already 5 to noon Eastern time in the Daverhood. So it just remains for me, again, to thank all of you for listening, all the folks who've been participating. This is just a needless commercial for Arizona, but I need it. And God willing, we'll be back here in 7 days. Next Saturday morning, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh my God, on my mother's birthday, Saturday, June 29th, with a brand new episode of the Dave's Gone By show. So bring it here. Hope to see you 7 days from now, watching and listening in the Daverhood. As we go out, we can't ignore that yesterday was the first day of summer. It was kind of easy, in fact, to ignore because the weather has been rain every day, except supposedly today and tomorrow. So did not exactly feel like summertime, which in some ways is fine with me. I'd rather have 68 degrees and misty than 88 degrees and sunny. It will be soon enough. But at least we get songs like this inspired by the summer. Everybody knows this one. Feel free to sing along in the 20-25 seconds we're allowed to play of it. Here's Mungo Jerry in the Summertime and Gone By.
In the summertime, when the weather is hot, you can just ride up and touch the sky.
Bit of a classic there, jug band music from Mungo Jerry. Not Rumble Teaser, just Mungo Jerry. This is Mungo Dave, wishing you a great week, a good summertime. We'll see you soon, and gone by.